4.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. Standing outside on Indianapolis Boulevard. Guess what it might just be in some remote areas of the region today. Hey, thanks for beeping! Somebody's plumbing. I didn't get the name. Next time, go a little slower, and then I'll give you a shout out. Hey, and nobody's listening. So let's just be straight. I got a little secret for you. First of all, I got a piece of popcorn caught in my throat. Hold on. What'd you say, Uncle Frank? In some areas of the Chicago area, it might be 60 degrees today with some sunshine and high clouds. Do you feel it in your soul? Is somebody massaging your heart from the inside? Do you feel like a new person all of a sudden? Do you feel as if you have been wearing the same stinky undershirt all winter long? And no matter how much you change it, it's the same stinking undershirt all winter long. Well, today you can take that undershirt off. And you can put on a new undershirt because it is a new day. We may see 60 degrees in February. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means for the rest of winter. I don't know that hey, what's going on? Hey, what are you doing? It's sectionals this week. It's a great time. It's a great time to be alive. You know what? I don't know who that guy is, but I know his life. He's driving a Chevy, and it's all spiffy, clean, and he's probably even waxed it. He probably did that most traditional of operations in his own garage. He Simonized his car. But things are clean. Maybe he's still working. Maybe he's been working the same place. Maybe he's retired. Maybe he drives and picks his grandkids up and takes them to school for the daughter who works as a nurse somewhere. Who knows? But I know that guy because we're like region rats, and we know each other. Speaking of region rats, I am one standing on Indianapolis Boulevard wearing a Hassey Construction safety hoodie. I don't know how much these cost, but it has to be over $100. And I love this thing. Hassey Construction has signed up for high school basketball. We appreciate that. John and Bill are on the team. So is Brett. So is Jared. So is Bob Mitzica and Steve Johnson. Do you want to be on the team? Call Debbie, 219-844-1230. Let's take a look at weather, which, of course, is brought to you by Laborers 41, of which I am a proud alum. A high of almost 60 degrees, maybe 60 in some areas today. Beautiful day. I mean, it's like Christmas today, really. It's going to be 60 degrees and sunny, and sectional basketball starts tonight. We'll have two games from the Hammond Civic Center, the cathedral of all basketball in Northwest Indiana. We'll have two games from the second cathedral in all of basketball in Northwest Indiana. It doesn't get any better than this. Hammond Civic Center, Whiting Memorial Gymnasium. And then, hey, what's going on? Beepers. There's a lot of beepers. You ready? I'm ready. I'm a beeper. You're a beeper. Beep, beep, beep. And Mr. Rogers would have sung that song had he still been alive. All of a sudden, everybody's resurrecting Mr. Rogers. Now, I don't know about you guys, but at nighttime, for some reason, I find myself listening to like old radio and old Johnny Carson monologues. I have not reached out into old Mr. Rogers' neighborhood shows yet, but that could be on the rise because it has gone viral. A speech that Mr. Rogers gave to Congress about the validity of public broadcasting system. And for some reason, that's being handed around by millions of people. And you know what? Just a nice, soft-spoken man in a green cardigan. I think he stole it from Walt, by the way. Remember Walt? Anyways, you got a high of 60 today. Ryan's got his green cardigan on. Look at that, man. Ryan's like 30 going on 65. And anyways, it's gorgeous out. And sectionals are starting. Now, we're going to be at Hammond High for 2 games and Whiting for 2 games. And then I'm going to be at the fairly new Gymnasium in St. John, Indiana at Lake Central High School. I went out there yesterday. Chris Ihart showed us around. I ran into Joe Huppenthal, and kind of joshed with him for a while because it's a great time to be alive in the Calumet region. Now we have entered a new zone. You have entered the Facebook Live zone. By the end of tonight, if all goes well, we'll have 7 games on Facebook Live. No! 2 from Chesterton with the Region Sports Network. 2 from Hammond Civic Center. 2 from Whiting Memorial Gymnasium. And then I only get the 1 game out at Lake Central. But then again, I'll be there again tomorrow for 2 games. Those guys won't. So all over the region, pick up your phone. Just at least watch each game for a little while so we get a credit for the view. And we're just doing it. We're going to do it. We're going to see if it works, see if there's enough interest in Facebook Living high school sectionals in Northwest Indiana. It's a new era. I don't know. I have no idea. We could turn it on and go, man, nobody's watching this. There's no guarantee. There may be way more interest than we ever thought. And then that's why we have to thank the many sponsors who have signed up to sponsor this, because you've got a pretty good idea that that's the future. Hey, thanks for beeping. But you don't really know. So these folks have taken a little bit of a jump, and they could be rewarded handsomely, or it could be like, nah. So it's kind of out of our control. It's in your control. Just pick up your phone, watch each little game for a little while, and we all win. Anyways, thanks to Community Healthcare for being the presenting sponsor of Tournament Takeover here on WJOB and Region Sports Network. All right, what else we got? Let's take a look at, I can't even, let me look. I'll give you the rest of the weather here. I'm just so excited about the day. You wake up and you're like, man, it's going to be 60. Sectionals are starting. Right now it's 41 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios. It's 40 degrees at Local 395 in Chesterton. And it is 42 degrees at Local 599 across here, the city of Hammond, at 599 Carpenters Hall, which actually is right by Hammond Civic Center. What about traffic? 294 around the city is actually moving okay. And 80 going east and west looks pretty good, so you get that going for you. Now, I haven't heard otherwise, but I'm pretty sure that Verley Suggs is coming in today. Is that right? I know you guys don't listen to me. Verley's coming in, right? Yeah, okay, good. Because I didn't plan anything. What it is when Verley's coming in, I don't have to plan anything because she's like so into everything that's going on. She could tell us off the top of her head all the stuff. So I just kind of let her do that. And it also helped because I went out to Lake Central yesterday. I had a meeting at Purdue Northwest and, just a lot of sports and video stuff. And I just I didn't have that much time to prep for today. But I do want to tell you that traffic is moving along well. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway, Toll Road, they're all moving along pretty well. All right, so one of the things that Verley and I are going to talk about is the upcoming sheriff's race in the primary. That's going to get funky, baby. When you're wait, I'm going to see a bunch of EC guys today or this week. And so I'm going to practice because here's how EC guys talk to us. Hey, man, how you been doing lately? They bring up their voices at the end, and then they put their arms all around you. So let me just tell you right now, if any of you EC losers come up to me and think you're going to give me a big hug while I'm doing the game. See, at Lake Central, I was talking to Ihart, and I'm like, hey, man, can't you put me down behind the scorer's bench? Because what happens is I stand on the corner, and all the people are walking right behind me. And I've done this at Michigan City for years, many of you guys know. And then I'll be doing the game, and people will come up, and they'll grab me, and they'll yank on my shirt, and they'll go, hey, Jed, what are you doing? I'm on the radio, dude. What do you think I'm doing? Or even better yet, it'll be an EC guy. And it'll be like, hey, Jed, give me a hug. And they'll want a hug while I'm announcing the game. Literally. That's what will happen. So if any of you EC schmucks come up and want to give me a hug while I'm on the radio, don't do it. Don't don't be your heritage. As a matter of fact, don't hug me at all. Just shake my hand, look me in the eye, like two men do in America. What's this, like 7-movement handshake and hug, like we're in some special water buffalo fraternity? We're not. We're just region guys that need to shake hands and look each other in the eye. Anyways, I was gonna talk about something, but I got so excited about something that hasn't even happened yet. Oh, we are going to talk about the sheriff's race coming up. And we're going to talk about the name game. I'm a little surprised that nobody played the name game. All right, I got one for you. 3 Hispanics, 3 blacks, and 1 white walk into a bar. What is it? It's the sheriff's race. Anyways, I'm surprised nobody put in any names to mess with Dave Dowling. I mean, that's the Lake County way. Put in a name that's kind of like the other name just to take about 5 or 7% of the votes away out of the confusion. That might be enough to win. But I've got a couple, and we're going to talk about why Daffy Duck, Ducky Downing, Daryl Dawkins, Dick Durbin, and Dwayne Deedlow aren't in there to confuse you about Dave Dowling. How come there's not 7 Mike Browns in there? What is wrong with people in Lake County? They have lost their touch. Now, some may argue and try to figure out, why is Betty Dominguez in the race? Betty. What kind of name could you use to confuse with Betty Dominguez, by the way? I can't really think of any. Hetty. You could use Hetty. Nobody names their kids Hetty anymore. That's like a young man died with that name. I can't say Betty Boop. That's all I got. But anyways, why is she in the race? Will she take votes away from the Hispanic current sheriff, Oscar Martinez? I don't know. It's a mystery. Like 4 friends in a funeral, or 3 friends in a funeral. You know what? No, the confusion, I've lost count myself. 4 friends in a funeral, the movie. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Well, I'm standing outside on Indianapolis Boulevard, courtesy of Ironworkers Local 395. Here it is right before 6 o'clock. And I will be with you guys up until about, say, 9 o'clock tonight from Lake Central. Sam Michael will guide you through Hammond Civic Center on Facebook Live, and Ryan Walsh will guide you through Whiting Memorial Gymnasium and the Class 2A sectional. Class 4A, Chris Ramirez and the Region Sports Network will guide you through the Chesterton sectional. All right, guys, I'm going to go inside, get ready for Verley. Don't tell her I didn't do my homework. I didn't do my homework. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to go in there, and I'm just going to start making stuff up until she gets here with some real information for you. I'm Jim Delow, the voice and face of the region. Click!
When you're in the dark, where do you turn to find a trusted professional who can assure the safety of your home or business electrical system? Certified Electrician is here to help. Looking for a highly skilled electrical contractor for your next construction project? CertifiedElectrician.com is where to find one. We connect you with pre-screened electrical professionals living right here in Northwest Indiana. Experts in residential, commercial, voice data video, and signage. Certified Electrician can fulfill all your electrical needs. Visit CertifiedElectrician.com.
Men, are you taking Viagra or Cialis for ED? ED should not stand for expensive drugs. If you're taking Viagra, talk with your doctor about Sildenafil. Now you could get the same active ingredient in Viagra in generic 20 milligram tablets for less than $2 each, saving over $30 per dose. Available at Vito's Pharmacy. Call us 219-228-7200 or visit us at VitosPharmacy.com. Vito's Pharmacy.
Eduardo's Natural Pizza in Munster has built a reputation for serving the finest Chicago-style stuffed pizza, loaded with fresh and natural ingredients. Not interested in stuffed pizza? Eduardo's has the best thin crust pizza, appetizers, salads, pastas, and more. Pick up a half-baked pizza from Eduardo's to take home and bake at your convenience. It's the perfect solution for those hectic nights. Eduardo's is located at 7920 Calumet Avenue in Munster. Dine in or carry out by calling 836-2010.
This is Pete Corellis with Corellis Roofing. Over the past months, you've heard on WJOB some of the names of the top roofing and sheet metal craftsmen our industry has to offer. Because of these dedicated craftsmen and many others at Corellis Roofing, we have been fortunate to have had the opportunity to continue to grow our business. We are currently looking for roofing installers at all experience levels. If you are interested in a career, not just a job, if you're interested in medical benefits, not just for you, but for your entire family, if you're interested in an excellent retirement plan, then Corellis Roofing could be the company for you. All applicants must pass a pre-employment drug test and random drug testing throughout their employment. If you are interested in becoming a member of our team, please apply online at Corellis.com or in person at 1333 169th Street in Hammond. Thank you.
For over 90 years, WJOB has been binding communities together across Northwest Indiana. Across the airwaves and into our homes, we are the voice of the region. But that's not all we are. With our push and development into streaming video, we are bringing our community to the screen on your phone and your computer. We are becoming the face of the region.
Guys, here's something a little weird. Sorry about that. I told you the Martians would start at WJOP. If they were going to come down and invade the world, they would have to start right here. I mean, what's more American? What's that? Chuck who? Is he here? Oh, no, Chuck Pullen. Yeah. See, Chuck Pullen, you were right. If the Martians were going to start anywhere, hey, I'm a little low on the screen, don't you think? If the Martians were going to start anywhere, they would start here because there's nothing more American than WJOB on in the morning. And you know what? There's nothing more interesting than Verley and I talking on a Tuesday morning and then MX calling in and Mad Mac calling in with that slightly condescending way, like, yeah, let's see in your guest over there. You know, in that kind of semi-demeaning fashion. I mean, life is good. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, Verley's late. That never happens. Hey, you know what? Last call to board on the WJOB Express to Hammond, Gary, East Chicago, Cherville, St. John, Dyer, Griffith, Hammond, Highland, Maryville, Calumet City, Lansing, South Holland, Chicago, and Schneider. How you doing, by the way?
Good morning.
Are you looking at yourself on the TV
No, I was
again?
looking at, how am I looking at myself when the only thing on the screen is you?
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, nobody understands that you sit at this table, desk, whatever you want to call it, and you look at a huge flat screen TV of you.
So?
And I think who was talking to you the other day and said, "Are you looking at yourself?" I mean,
that
there
is
is
there
nothing
so
more
that
narcissistic than looking in a mirror all morning long.
yeah, that's why McDermott's always looking to the
Oh,
side.
that's why, because he would definitely love to be in that seat looking at himself.
No, what it is that I have to look at that so that I know that we are centered, and I tend to move out of the shot. And we put that up there so that I would know that it is kind of distracting to like try to look at the camera, and then right over the camera is a massive screen of yourself in your own head. And you're looking at your own greasy hair. By the way, you know, am I allowed to say that your hair looks really nice?
Thank
What'd you
you.
do? Huh?
What do you mean? I just got up in the morning and got ready.
Yeah, but I mean, you got this like makeover thing going on, man. You look different and you look
well,
good.
I mean, you're supposed to change up. You're not supposed to always be the same. You're not. Where would the excitement be in life if people just spent from the time they were born to the day they die looking the same hairstyle, same makeup, same clothes? Life is about metamorphosis and change and enhancements. That's why there's billboards all over the place for enhancements. I just haven't gotten to the enhancement point.
You want to share that with us?
No, I don't need a facelift, but there's some other things I'd like to tuck.
Just a little nip here. Hey, Michael, how about it? Happy birthday to me. I just want a little stitch here and a couple like nips there. And a tuck there. Okay, well, fair enough. I had something to say, but I've lost my thought. Just kind of hitting on that. All right. Hey, a high of 59 today. Sunny much of the time, and sectional start. Tomorrow, high of 52, though. Mostly cloudy, shower, mild. And then by Thursday, it gets back into high around low 40s. Actually goes below freezing on Thursday. Then Friday and Saturday, get some sunshine, but kind of cooler. Today's your day. This is a glorious day, February 27th. It never gets this warm. Let's call it 60 degrees in some areas. So right now it is 39 degrees at the Calumet region all the way across. Let's see, 39 degrees in Hammond here at the Strachan Van Til Studios. It's 40 degrees in Maryville at local 697 where a certified electrician is. And local 41 is also 41 degrees. It's 41 at 41. And what do you have in terms of the traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda? Pretty light morning. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65. All right. That ought to do it with Napleton bringing you that. Don't forget the second annual Little Calumet River Cleanup is coming, and it's hosted by the Isaac Walton League. That's going to be April 28th and 29th. There it is.
How are they doing that with the water so swollen and everything right now?
It'll be done by then. I mean,
you think the levels will be down enough to clean?
You know, I walked along. Hey, Ryan. First what? Yeah, first 50 that sign up get the photo with Dan Repay. That's excellent.
Oh, wow. Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
The first 50 that sign up get a photo with somebody?
With Dan Repay.
Dan Repay?
Yeah,
like,
he's the celebrity executive director of the Little Calumet River Commission.
Okay.
Hey, listen, you asked me a question. What was it? I forgot. It was something about how do you blank, and I don't remember what it was. Do you guys remember what it was?
Look at yourself one morning.
No, you asked me a question. How do you blank? And I've lost my train of thought. But Verley Suggs is here, and Verley, what do you want to talk about today? Anything special?
Well, I was listening to you on my way in, so I know we have a lot to talk about.
I
have to give a quick shout out because this is my first morning since I've been on WJOB that I'm actually competing against my best friend on another radio station. So she's now back doing the morning show, and so we're on at the same time. So she can't listen to me, and I can't listen to her.
Oh, that's too bad.
So shout out to Natalie.
You know, LTH was off the air for a little while.
Well, actually, their antenna is underwater over there, you know, off of 8094 and King Drive. And so they've had to do some modifications to actually get back on the air. And I remember back when they had the major flood over, 10 years ago? 10 years, right? We were off the air for over a month because we're in the flood zone. The Army Corps of Engineers diverted that water off of 8094 a number of years ago to keep the highway from flooding. It floods their antenna site. So they were off the air because of that. And their engineer has gotten them back up doing other methods.
You know, I looked at the the relative sales of radio stations in the Midwest, and most of them are kind of in the same area. And then WLTH, from what I don't even think it's fully sold, but they put a number on it, and it was way lower than the norm is.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, there's no asterisk on it or anything, but it has really hurt the value and of the ability to broadcast on a regular basis. I feel bad for those people that can't, it's hard enough to make money in radio, let alone to be just thrown off the air for periods at a time when it rains a lot.
Most definitely. And Dr. Williams over there, I mean, he owns about 8 radio stations. So he's always buying new stations. I think he just recently bought one in Valpo. But WLTH radio, to me, has been a part of the region just like WJOB. And when they're off the air, well, some of their listeners tune into WJOB, of course. Shout out to those who do. But they will just listen to static until they come back on. That's how loyal some people are.
That's too bad. I wish there was a way to help them out with that. But, I mean, it's just, AM radio the way it is. You got this certain antenna you got to use, and you can make some adjustments when you're off the air and use auxiliary antennas and stuff. But for the most part, those are only short-term solutions.
Exactly.
I don't know
And
what
they
the-
have 2 antenna sites. There's another. We have, no longer we, but they have an antenna site off of 65 as well in Hobart.
And so they're using that now?
No, that's their night antenna.
Yeah.
But they've done some work to broadcast right now.
All right, so it's sectionals week, and we're going to be, here at WJOB. I just want to remind everybody that Community Healthcare is presenting the entire tournament on Facebook Live here from 4 sites. We should have 7 games on Facebook Live feed tonight if all goes well, and that'll be Chesterton 2 games, Hammond 2 games, Whiting 2 games, and then I'll be out at Lake Central for 1 game. And then I'll be there again tomorrow for 2 games. So, just look at it, pick up your phone, and at least give it a look if you guys would. And then that way we'll know how many people are watching and so forth. All right, so there's so much stuff going on in the world. Where do you want to start?
Well, as I was listening to you talk about the name game, let's start there. Because you said there's no one in there with the same name. And so I started thinking about one candidate that's actually in there with the name game. And that was Mike Brown. And the reason I say that is because we all know that there are 2 Mike Browns that currently serve in Lake County government. One has been there for a number of years, and the other one got in there because he had the same name. And so when you look at certain voters that are ill-informed voters, that vote based on just name recognition and went to the polls and elected Mike Brown, the county recorder, based on the fact that they thought he was the nice guy, Mike Brown, the current Lake County clerk. So, on the streets and in the neighborhoods and in the places where people meet, people are looking at that as sort of like, what do they say when you throw something into a mix that
A
could
potpourri or a stew?
No, something that's going to upset it. So there are people that say, well, let's wait till after this election and see who comes up with what job. Like, why are people in this election? And Mike Brown's team may be thinking that there are people who are going to go to the polls and they see Mike Brown's name and automatically they're going to vote for Mike Brown because they like Mike Brown. And then there are people that are saying, oh, there's a candidate that wants Mike Brown in the race because that's going to hurt Ligon and Gary. So if I'm looking at the person with the name game, to me, Mike Brown would be that person because not only have I seen it, but other people have seen him in huddles with the current sheriff. And that's the question on the streets of why is Mike Brown, and I understand he's a clerk and they work together because they're both a county, but they're also opponents. So that is a lot of what is being said. And
what do you mean? I'm missing the point.
Okay. So there are people that feel that Mike Brown is in the race to hurt Ligon.
Really?
Really?
Why? Because
you never knew that? You never thought that?
No, I don't know that stuff.
Well, why do you think Betty Dominguez is in the race? Some people say Betty Dominguez is in the race to hurt Martinez, right?
That I've heard, yeah.
Okay. But you see, I guess we're in different circles because everybody in Gary who's not supporting Mike Brown feels that way.
Well,
I mean, everybody, every day I have a conversation with somebody who feels that way.
All right, so here's the question. Let's talk racial politics.
Okay, that's fine.
And somebody brought this up to me when I went over to the Haven House fundraiser and sat at the bar. That there's basically 3 Hispanics, if you do Maria Garcia Trajkovic. And then you've got 3 African Americans, right?
Yes.
You've got Ligon, Mike Brown, and Nate. And then you've got a couple other people, but really kind of one major white candidate, and that's Dave Dowling. So is it possible that the Hispanic vote or Hispanic sympathizers will split up Same thing with the African Americans, and then you'll get like if people kind of vote somewhat along racial lines, then that clears the way for Dave Dowling.
Well, it's definitely not rocket science. Everybody, has some thought in that regard. And when you see two opponents publicly communicating, like they will talk about, say there was a fundraiser this past weekend for Kimberly Robinson, packed house, everybody's there schmoozing, and people are seeing these two candidates together, and they're questioning it. Now, back in the day in East Chicago, the guys would probably go down to Greektown or to the lounge in Whiting and have their little huddle. But I guess in today's day and age, they don't mind communicating in open public. Because, I was at an event where I actually saw a person who would probably consider himself a mover or a shaker grab the two of them and pull them together and add one other person to the mix whose name I won't mention, her name. But, so there are people who are questioning this.
So, hold on. I lost you here. Are you pointing that Mike Brown is in it and he's friends with who?
I'm not saying he's friends with anyone.
But he has been seen speaking with.
And of course, it's political function, so people speak, we hug, we kiss,
but he has
we
been
give greetings.
Seen speaking
we
with.
Hug.
No,
Jim,
you
we
stop,
hug.
will you? You know how many IEC guys are going to come up to me on Friday night when East Chicago plays and they're going to want to hug me? And I'm
You know what?
Get away
I'm going
from
to
me.
shout out to my East Chicago brothers and sisters. Don't hug Jim Dietlow. Next time you see him, give him the cold shoulder. Let him appreciate the love of East Chicago when he doesn't get it.
Yeah, that'll happen. Hey, listen. All right, so Mike Brown was seen talking to whom? I missed that part.
Oscar Martinez.
So hold on a second. So why would Oscar Martinez remotely want another good candidate in the
Why
race?
not? Because they want the black vote to get split. And see, this is why I hate this racial politics, because you can have 5 or 6 or 10 white guys in a race and nobody claims, oh man, they're going to split the vote. There's 10 white guys going to split the vote amongst all the white people. Nobody ever complains about that. Nobody complains when there's a race, when there's no minority in it, and you're voting based on the candidate and not based on race. Nobody ever brings these issues up. But when there's diversity in a race, then it's all about the black card, the white card, the Hispanic card. We would never question this if it was Bunsick, Stig, and Pastrick running in a race.
Well, I understand that, but I think, what is the percentage of white voters in Lake County? Like 60%, probably? It's probably like 15% or 8, or maybe it's between Hispanic and black voters. Maybe it's a third in Lake County, tops.
Yeah, I guess it.
All right, so
the
you've got.
percentage depends on the community that you're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, for the whole county, it's that's my guess. These guys, look it up on a census. Will you? What is the percentage minority in Lake County? So if you have a white majority, it doesn't ring as direct that there's a racial there's divisions within the majority a lot of times, whereas the minority may vote along the lines of the minority. It could be any minority.
Because if you look at Gary and the history of Scott King holding office 2 terms in a predominantly African American city, then what's your explanation?
It doesn't have to be a black candidate for the black community or a Hispanic community. My point is that a lot of times in Lake County, over time, it breaks down along racial lines over the years that the races will vote for their own. Not so much in a lot of times I think just from watching it, whites in Lake County will split up and they won't kind of get behind one person or one, maybe just one white person. That'll split up a little bit. But the blocks of minority, and I don't just mean like just blacks and Hispanics, but there might be a veterans group that might get all their people to vote for them, or a teachers union. But they'll get into little factions, And so if that's the case, that possibly people put in Betty Dominguez to take Hispanic votes away from Oscar Martinez, and possibly 65% Caucasian. So there you go.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Eisenstein, what's his name? Eisenstein, the professor?
yeah.
He called it tribal politics once, and he got a lot of flack over that by using the term tribal. But it's very tribal in Lake County.
I don't know. Tribal has a connotation of, has a kind of a negative
Well,
connotation.
that's why
But
he
racial
took a lot of
politics.
flack.
Yeah. I
But-
mean, but if you ever talk to the guy, there's a reason that he deserved that flack. But anyways, the minority politics in Lake County is actually kind of interesting. So have you heard the newest one that I made up?
What's the newest
All
one?
right. 3 blacks, 3 Hispanics, and a white
heard
guy walk into a bar. What is it? It's the sheriff's race.
Cute, but the
Come on.
only problem with that
Is that it's true?
no, the only problem with that is I haven't seen Nate Hall out there campaigning at all. His
Yeah.
name is just in there, and I don't know. Has Betty Dominguez been out on the campaign trail? Well, she was there to
Doesn't
see
matter.
her name become number 1 on the ballot.
It doesn't matter. She'll get plenty of votes.
She
and
will
you know
definitely get plenty of votes,
You-
but I'm just saying she might not be walking in the bar.
We're going to
Okay.
talk on the other side of this. There's been a number of local schools that have had to deal with gun incidents, and we're going to talk about that next. AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM. You can also watch us on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. And don't forget starting tonight, 7 sectional games on your phones. I cut the deal with the IHSAA, and a ton of local businesses stepped forward to pay for this, to see it to fruition. And I want to thank each and every one of them. And the main one is that the entire tournament will be presented by the community healthcare system.
Ironworkers Local 395, through their contractor employers, the Northwest Indiana Contractors Association, are the workers you see building Northwest Indiana. They are the craftsmen building your schools, hospitals, malls, steel mills, and manufacturing plants. They support local charities, including Tradewinds and Chasing Dreams, and they coach your kids after work and on the weekend. They live, work, and contribute to all of our local communities' economic growth. To find out more about these organizations, visit ironworkers395.com or nwicontractors.org.
For generations, you've trusted Edgewater Systems to provide compassionate, high-quality care. As the science of behavioral health has evolved, it's revealed the important connection between physical and behavioral health. With this in mind, we're pleased to introduce Edgewater Health, which includes primary care, in addition to our long-standing mental health and addiction services. Whichever combination of services you need, Edgewater Health is here for you for your whole life. Learn more at edgewaterhealth.org.
What gets you fired up when you think about college? Explore your roar at Purdue University Northwest. With 2 exciting campuses in Hammond and Westville, more than 70 areas of study, and NCAA Division II athletics, Purdue Northwest offers it all at an excellent value. Learn more at pnw.edu and apply today. That's pnw.edu. Join the pride at Purdue Northwest.
Rush Radiosurgery deploys revolutionary technology in the fight against prostate cancer in just 5 outpatient treatments. With radiosurgery treatment for prostate cancer, there is no pain, no surgery, and you can go back to your normal activities right after treatment. Prostate cancer does not fight fair, and neither should you. For more information, contact Rush Radiosurgery at 312-942-4600 or visit us at rushradiosurgery.com.
No case is typical. Results will vary by patient, and there's no guarantee other patients will experience these results.
629 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Diedlow, host of my show, JED in the Region. Every Tuesday, I allow someone to come in by the name of Verley Suggs. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65 are all moving along pretty well. And traffic is brought to you by our good friends at Napleton River Oaks Honda. You got a little bit of slowness at the merge that has developed here just recently. Let's call that 115th up until the southern end of the Dan Ryan. We'll keep an eye on that. What do you have in terms of the weather? We have a 60-degree sunny day. I'm not kidding. And I don't know what you're going to do with it, but you better do something, because then tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a shower, and a high of 52. By Thursday, a high of 44 and some rain, maybe even some snow on Thursday. 2 gray days coming up after this. But by Friday and Saturday, it warms up and it gets pretty nice out. By the weekend, Friday, a high of 41, partly sunny, and Saturday, a high of 45 and partly sunny. And weather brought to you by Laborers Local 41. Of course, I am a proud former member of that fine union. And we did traffic, and we did weather. And I do need to hit a couple of the texts. If you guys want to text us, all you got to do is at 219-845-1100. Later in the day, street closure reminder, as the city of Hammond will be doing construction at Calumet Avenue and Sheffield Parkway in the Wolf Lake area. Both north and southbounds will be closed from 7 o'clock tonight to 5 in the morning. Use 129th Street and Indianapolis Boulevard as the detour around the short duration construction closure from Milan Krasinski of the Port Authority. Now, this affects a lot of people going to sectional games tonight, as there will be a lot of people headed to Whiting that would normally use Calumet Avenue. If you're going to the early game, you'll get in there before they close it, but on the way home, you will be caught. Or if you're going to the later game out in Whiting, you'll be caught, because they're going to start this at 7 o'clock. Also, a lot of people will be coming down that same road to the Hammond Civic Center, which is just off Calumet Avenue. So Calumet Avenue in Sheffield, Calumet Avenue is going to be closed. Somebody explained to me what they were doing. Is that the toll road or something? They're working on the toll road there. What does it say? Construction related to work at Calumet Avenue in Sheffield. Now north and southbound closed tonight from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. That will be a major hassle. Use 129th and Indianapolis Boulevard. So I'm guessing if it is at the toll road, you'll be able to go along the road that goes along Lost Marsh there, and that is 129th. You'll be able to use that and go all the way around. But that's a long way around, my friends. So just it's your only outlet, too. You got to go all the way down to Indianapolis Boulevard. Then you got to go along BP there, right on the edge of BP, and then go south and work your way all the way back through East Chicago, man. That's a long detour. All right, guys. What were we talking about? I wanted to talk about something, Burley.
Okay,
Hey,
but first of all, my husband, I have to listen to his advice sometimes. I try and listen to his advice about not responding to everything.
how's that working?
It doesn't work well since you allow me to come here every Tuesday.
Oh, come on, man. You just gotta. You couldn't just let that go.
No.
He's probably right. It's like, Burley, just let some things go. Let it just roll off
swing
your
at
back.
everything.
Why do you got to swing at everything?
I don't know, because I can't resist it.
As a matter of fact, we went to break. You know what Verly told me? She says, you need to start wearing makeup. You look washed out. And, I don't know how to take that, because I'm looking at myself on the screen right there, and I think I'm kind of handsome.
You're handsome, but you still look washed out.
Hey, I don't know. I guess I'll do anything. I'll wear
Maybe
makeup.
Just go to the tanning salon.
And Ryan Verly says that, and Ryan goes, yeah, you do. You need to start wearing makeup. I'm like, really? I don't know. That just seems too much. All right, here it is from one of the texters says, it's the new walking bridge at Wolf Lake over Calumet Avenue. That's what they're working on. Okay. So it isn't the toll road. It's a walking bridge. I want to talk about some serious stuff here. As we all know, there's been a mass shooting in Parkland, Florida, and Stoneman Douglas High School has been the site of a lot of protests against guns in schools. And some observers say it's different this time. There's momentum for a real examination of what we do with guns here in America. In the meantime, there have been a number of incidents at local schools. And I'm sure you saw this, Verly. Let's go to Griffith. Griffith's had 2 of them. Of course, we talked at length last week about the young man, 18 years old, who allegedly inadvertently brought his gun into school, went to the school resource officer and said, hey, you know what? I forgot I got my gun on me. Can I take it out to the car? Heck no. They arrested him, and he may be up for a felony for basically forgetting and walking in with his gun.
Why do you think he just didn't go take the gun to the car? That would be like me going to work and trying to taking a gun through security and say, "Oh shoot, I have my gun today." It's like, just turn around and go back. Not that I have a gun, folks. I don't even have a gun, but just go back and put it in the car. I mean, I understand that he was illegal. He was legally allowed to have that gun, but just not on school grounds. So just go put it back in the car. Don't tell anybody. Just, oh my goodness, I forgot I have this gun. And why, first of all, did he have it? Why was he carrying it in his backpack or on his person? Why did an 18-year-old need to have a gun?
I don't know as if that's a question that matters in this discussion.
It does matter.
No,
it matters.
I mean, he's an 18-year-old kid. He's legally allowed to carry a gun. Maybe he grew up in a gun household. He feels that it makes him safe and that he can protect his family better and he can protect himself.
And he's carrying it around on his person?
A lot of people, if you ever given someone a hug, and this happens because EC people hug me all the time, and every once in a while you get your arm all the way around and you hit some metal object on their hip, and they're not even like a cop or anything.
Are they 18-year-old high school students? Because it seems to me that when I hear of minority kids carrying guns, then it's an issue. All the guns in Chicago or all the guns in Gary. But when a white kid takes a gun to Griffith, oh, well, he needs a gun to protect himself. It's okay for him to have this gun. How's that?
You have a point, but if it was a black kid with a license to carry that was a responsible gun owner and goes to the range and has taken all the classes and knows what they're doing, I think that people would understand the desire to carry a gun. Or the kid, it sounds like this kid's never been in trouble. If it's a kid that's not in trouble or was a known gang member carrying a gun of white or black or Hispanic, that's I think that.
Well, guess what? If he went to Westside High School in Gary, the metal detector would have been set off the minute he walked in the building.
That's a good point.
Okay.
You've got a good point. So why do we – all right, listen to this other one in Griffith. And the topic of metal detectors is exactly where I wanted to go. Okay? So authorities were notified Tuesday of an alleged threat against Griffith High when a student presented a school resource officer with a video by a former student making threats. The kid's name is Torin Dillon, who's actually a basketball player.
Former basketball player.
Yeah, that I interviewed at one point. And I don't know what's going on with Torin. He's got a level 6 felony. They're saying he did a video, and then he allegedly drove a threatening video that he's going to shoot up his former school. And then he drove from Indianapolis to Griffith to film the threatening video. The video starts with Dylan looking into the camera and shows pictures of the east side of Griffith High Middle School. The picture contains several inches of plowed snow, and there was a bunch of cars, so they're saying that it was during the weekday. Dylan is then heard saying, B word, I can't say it, shoot you all down, and yeah, N-word, old stomping groups. I'll shoot this whole SH up. I don't give no blanking. I don't give no whatever.
So he doesn't get a pass because he was just filming a music video, huh? I'm not defending him. I'm just saying it, but he was wrong, period.
Well, I mean, he's saying he's going to shoot the school up. I mean, that's a pretty, doesn't matter what color you are. That is a definite no-no right now. And he's looking at a felony. So is a kid, a current Griffith High School student, also was charged this week for inadvertently bringing a gun into school. I don't know what color this kid is. He's 18 years old. I don't know
what kid.
The 18-year-old that I know. Torin Dillon.
This kid is a white kid.
The second kid is a white kid.
Yeah.
I don't know that. How do you know that?
Because his picture's been in the paper.
Okay, I haven't seen that. Okay, all right. Here's another one. Possible threat at St. Thomas More Elementary School in Munster, and they're all kind of being quiet about it. They refused to comment. The school handled communication with parents and student discipline. If anyone has any additional information, they can call Lieutenant Stribiak. The school principal said, we called the police to investigate. They completed their investigation, and we completed ours, taking disciplinary action as needed.
They weren't specific in what the threat was, but there's too many guns around, too many families that are irresponsible gun owners, that their children are getting access to these guns. They're killing other kids in their families. Their parents are killing their own kids irresponsibly with guns, like what happened in Hobart not too long ago. It's just too many guns. I'm all for gun control. And those crazies over at CPAC from the NRA are just making me feel even more that we don't need so many guns, because these crazy people who are speaking from the podium are no different than the crazy people who are possessing these guns. When you hear their rhetoric that comes out of their mouths, that this was your God-given right to have a gun. Jesus didn't have a gun.
Sheriff's detectives arrested a 13-year-old boy at his home Friday after he posted his social media plans to shoot up Lake Ridge Middle School. Because of this day and age and what's going on in the nation, we have to take these threats seriously, said Lake County Sheriff Oscar Martinez. He was expelled from Lake Ridge. The Toon posted on social media site his plans to shoot up whoever showed up to school on Monday. Friends and acquaintances of the boy brought the post to a school resource officer's attention, and the Lake County Sheriff's Department assigned its special victims units to investigate. The 13-year-old, whose name is not being released because of his juvenile status, was booked at LCJC on felony charges of intimidation. These are serious threats regardless of if they were done out of spite or anger. So, Chesterton. Parent upset after being contacted about the welfare of her Brummett Elementary School student triggered an emergency response this week after posting on Facebook what was interpreted as a threat to the school's principal. Chesterton, Munster, Gary, and Griffith. Parkland. I don't know what to say, man. Is it different now? I guess is one of the questions to ask. Is there a movement afoot to take a serious look at keeping guns out of the hands of people who should not have them? Or is it too late? Too little, too late?
It's too little, too late. I mean, Columbine happened, 20-some years ago?
Was it 20? I don't think it was that long, was it? Columbine, what year? Yeah, I guess he's right, yeah. So where's this going from here? It doesn't seem 20 years ago.
Okay.
Where's this going?
It's as long as the NRA is in control. Delta Airlines recently said no more discounts to NRA members. A congressman or some official there has said, okay, well, you know what? No discounts to NRA. Then we're going to pull your tax break on fuel. I mean, these politicians are so bought and owned by the NRA that it is unbelievable, and people are willing to accept this? What is this world coming to?
Let's go to John on line 1. Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
You know, I hear all this rhetoric about gun laws and, more laws and more scrutiny. And I can only speak from my personal experience. I grew up in East Chicago. I saw a lot of violence when I was a young man, more than I'm proud to admit. Okay? And the only thing that keeps coming into my mind is I saw a lot of guns used in these violent acts. And all I know is not one of those young men, because that's what we were at that time, not one of those young men ever gave a dang about any law, any rule that any senator, congressman, anybody who makes a law or enforces a law, not one of those people using them guns illegally cared about any laws that were put in place. And 95% of those guns that were used in those illegal acts were stolen from law-abiding citizens. They didn't go to Cabela's and fill out their little form and wait however many days and follow all the rules. That's the whole problem. Criminals do not care about laws.
That's true.
So what good does tighter gun laws do is what I'm trying to find out. everybody wants to, oh, we need more gun laws. We need more gun laws. Do you think that the 15-year-old gangbanger gives a dang about your gun laws?
Well, probably not, because most of those guns, as you said, come through the way that you mentioned. However, Mr. Cruz down in Florida actually bought his gun legally. He didn't buy it on the streets. He didn't buy it in an alley. He went to a gun shop and actually bought a gun with a history of mental illness and reports of violence.
Okay, but let's not take out the one, you know what I mean? Yeah, there's going to be that one example that anybody could find and say, oh, well, look, this guy who was an NRA member for 20 years did this horrible act. Okay, fine. Yeah, that will happen. But my question is, out of the hundreds of murders that were done in Gary, how many of those murders were created by law-abiding gun owners? And I guarantee you the number is minimal. So what good does it do to put more laws for people who don't care about the laws?
So let me slow down a second, John. You got some good points. John, what is it? Where do you stand on? Obviously, you don't want tighter gun laws. I mean, are you a pro-gun guy, or you want more guns on the street? I mean, one of the one of the solutions being floated right now is basically to give teachers guns and give them some responsibility to serve and protect also. And how do you feel about that?
Teachers are meant to teach. They're not there to protect. There are people in this world that their job, their literal job, and their hours and months and days of a year are spent in classrooms doing real-life scenarios, are trained to protect. They're called police officers. We send around referendums for all kind of stupid things, for gymnasiums, for I could just go on and on, gymnasiums, music classes. Don't get me wrong, these issues are important. But what's more important than your child's safety? Okay? These laws, the only thing they do is tighten the reins on the people that are already following the laws. The people who don't follow the laws could care less about your stupid laws. That's the whole problem. I'm not a gun owner. I have been in the past. But the bottom line is I'm a law-abiding citizen, okay? So if I did own a firearm, okay, what I would do is I would go and I would follow all the laws. And you know what? I would lose sleep over making sure I followed all the laws if I owned a firearm. But the 15-year-old kid that's in the suburbs of Chicago who stole his gun or obtained his gun illegally, however he may have done so, does not care about your laws. And that's the problem. You take away the guns from the citizens that actually do follow the law.
Well, you get to the heart of one of the issues here, John. Thanks a lot. Hey, take a deep breath, man. Thank you for sharing with that.
I will, kid. Everything's going to be good.
All right,
I don't think that every law-abiding citizen, I don't think that every citizen follows the law. And that average gangbanger with the illegal gun is not the one that's going into the schools and shooting up the people. Okay? So I don't know the last time I've heard of a mass shooting where it was done in a school that was done by a gangbanger.
Good point. All right. Hey, listen, you guys, I'll take one more. I'll take Dan. Hey, Dan, you're on local 599 phone line. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Jen. How you doing, Burley?
Hi, Dan.
What's the difference between kids now and kids from the 60s and 70s?
They use their fists and knives or what?
No, it was the worst thing that would happen in the school would one kid might pull the fire alarm. Something like that. I think it's the parents where back then they would censor their kids for what they watched and what they did, and the parents would be censored by the news media, or what they heard on TV. That's the difference. That's why it's crazy out. I've seen a 10-year-old. She was on Facebook watching a shooting that was live, and that to me is crazy.
They just had one in, I think, North Carolina, where a person was walking down the street with his phone, and someone walked up to him and shot it. He caught it all on video, and they were broadcasting. Facebook just took it down, but
Yeah, I
horrible.
couldn't believe this. I go, what are you watching on the telephone? Oh, it's nothing. Oh, it's nothing. 10-year-old kid.
Wow.
There's something crazy going on with this. You can watch anything you want to on this phone.
You're right.
All right, Dan,
Okay.
thanks a lot. Talk to you. Be right back.
Did you know that Hammond, Indiana is having their first annual St. Patrick's Day Parade on March 17th at 1 p.m.? The parade route extends from 173rd Street in Kennedy to 161st Street. Please join us. We are going green. And don't forget to stop in at Freddy's Steakhouse, located at 6442 Kennedy Avenue on the corner of 165th Street, for a special appearance of the Shriners Pipes and Drums at 4 p.m. Stay for dinner. We'll be serving corned beef and cabbage and a green bar. For more information, please call Freddy's Steakhouse, 219-844-1500. Hammond's St. Patrick's Day Parade on March 17th.
From the Strachan Van Til Studios, your local Strachan Van Til has some great products on sale this week. Here's a few items you might want to add to your shopping list. Certified Angus Beef Boneless Chuck Roast, $3.49 a pound. Smithfield Prime All Natural Boneless Center Cut Pork Chops, family size packages, $2.49 a pound. And fresh strawberries, 16-ounce packages, $1.99 each. Strachan Van Til, proud to be Indiana-made and dedicated to being Indiana's grocery store.
Carpenters Local 599 joins with other Carpenter locals to build the local economy and has been doing so for over 117 years. We are proud to be a member of the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Regional Council of Carpenters, which is threefold: training, professionalism, and partnership. We also offer some of the best benefits in the industry. To find out how to become a member of Carpenters Local 599, contact us at 219-942-0518 or log on to ikorcc.com.
Theo's Steak and Seafood sets the standard of fine dining excellence. Delicious USDA prime meats and steaks, along with the freshest seafood in the area. Celebrate your special event with friends, family, and associates in our private dining room that can seat up to 125 people. For information, call 838-8000 or theoshighland.com. Also visit our other restaurants, Prime Steakhouse, Umi Sushi and Lounge in Crown Point, and Ted's Family Restaurant in Calumet City.
Ted's, man. Good stuff. Good region stuff. 294 around the city, getting a little bit heavy from Cicero to, say, the Stevenson. Hey, Verley, you got a phone call? Verley's phone. Verley's making me a tea. Thank you. She feels bad about ripping on me early. She just can't let it go. You're right, Suggs. She just can't let it go. 294 around the city. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford a little bit tight, 111th to 103rd, but not too bad, really. Skyway Toll Road. Foreman, I-65 US 30, and everything looks pretty good except for the Bishop Ford. And that is brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving NWI from Torrance and Lansing. And in terms of the weather, we've got a gorgeous day. Sectional start. It's a new day. It's a historical day, really. Both WJOB and the Region Sports Network got together. That's kind of big news. We cut a huge deal with the IHSAA. It took me forever to do that, and I got that done. And so we have we bought broadcast rights for video for the 4 sectionals. So tonight on your phone, if it all goes well, and I'm just saying if, it's going to be 7 games on your phone tonight, and they're going to be great games because all of these sectionals are pretty even, man. It should be some just amazing watching. I talked to, I'm surprised a couple of bars haven't stepped up and said we're going to run the games. We didn't really market. We just kind of the deal. It took me forever to get the deal cut, so I just cut it kind of late and then went around to sponsors. And I got to tell you, everybody was pretty open to Facebook Living high school sectionals, and we've been able to cover our costs. I thought that I was going to take it on the chin, like I have with most of Facebook Live for the last few years, or streaming video. It'll take years to get that money back, but at least we shouldn't lose on this one. And that is partly, main thing is that Community Hospital and BP Whiting Refinery are both stepping up in a big way. We appreciate both of them. So it is high school sectional starting, a historic day, bringing it into streaming video. And the games themselves, man. Go to a game tonight. It's going to be gorgeous. Pick one. Pick Whiting. Pick Hammond. Pick Lake Central. Pick Chesterton. It doesn't matter where you're going, really. The only one is Lake Central only has one game tonight. The big night at Lake Central is actually tomorrow with 2 games. But tonight should be a good game between Highland and Morton. Actually should be very, very good game. And then you've got Griffith and Lighthouse going off at 7:30 at the Civic Center. BNI at River Forest is what, at 6? At 6 o'clock. And that's at Whiting. Then you got 2 games out at Chesterton. Both those line up pretty good. Portage is in one of them. And you can go anywhere. So, I mean, literally, you're sitting around, you're thinking, well, what am I going to do tonight? And you say, you know what I'm going to do what Jed said? I'm just going to go pick a sectional and I'm going to go to it. And then while you're sitting in the stands, bring your phone out and watch a game from another sectional. That's at least how it's designed to work. So we got beautiful weather. You've got sectional starting and a high of 60 today, sunny much of the time. And then tomorrow, cloudy and some rain, a high of 52. And then by Thursday, high of 46 or so. And or tomorrow, or by Thursday, high of 44. And then Friday and Saturday, though, we get some sunshine going in to those sectionals. So Tuesday, Friday, Saturday are big sectional days, and you have sunshine on all of those days. What were we talking about? There was one other thing I needed. Oh, I want to tell you the 13 sponsors that signed up on this. Community Hospital, BP, Whiting Refinery, Albert's Jewelers, thanks to Fred and Paul, the marketing guy over there. I talked to Paul. I go, Paul, where are you from? He goes, I'm from the area. Dilo, why do you want to know? Then you know how big sectionals is. He goes, you know what he says to me? How much? All right, Hammond Machine Works. Same thing with Pete Naw. The Building Trades. Thanks a lot to Randy Palmatier and the Building Trades Council. Also, Hassey Construction, Johnny Selzider, attorney at law, Matt Maloney. And by the way, his wife's Jeannie or Janine? Janine, happy 50th birthday yesterday, Janine. I had that on my notes here. I never got to it, and I'm so sorry about that. But happy 50th birthday to Janine Maloney. She put up with Matt Maloney for all these years. Matt Maloney and I traded together at the Board of Trade, and how she put up with that, I have no idea. Same thing with Lisa Belinsky and Wayne Micka of Micka Cabinets have signed up. Shanahan Insurance, thanks a lot to Shanahan's. Staff Source, thanks a lot to Merkel Marriage. Tauber Law, thanks a lot to Jared Notrett. And Vito's Pharmacy, VJ Demasius, he'll be in here in just a little bit. City of Whiting is sponsoring the Whiting sectional. And Spike's Lakeside Inn is sponsoring the Lake Central sectional. Verly, what are we talking about in the break?
First of all, that phone call, that was my mommy.
How's she doing?
She said, I am so glad you did not allow him to get away with saying he allows you. My mom's a New Yorker.
So
she's like, when she heard you say allow, she was like, oh, Verly better not let that go.
So she taught you to find even minor slights and injustices and respond to all of them. You can't just let anything.
No,
you can't
that
just
was
let
not
something
minor.
go. I'm with Suggs. I tell my wife the same thing. I'm like, why are you upset about that? That doesn't even matter in the big scheme of things. Because, and it's like somebody slighted her or slighted you in some way, and you can't.
Being a privileged white male, you wouldn't understand.
Oh man, are you really? You know what? That's probably true, actually.
But you left true.
You left handsome out of there. A handsome,
privileged white male.
I wouldn't understand. You're right. Hey, we're talking about what were we talking about during the break? Oh, one of the things I wanted to mention is, you know, we started talking about this gun issue, and I'll take some of you folks that want to talk about it. But I went to Lake Central yesterday. Chris Ayart, and I ran into him, the athletic director. What a great guy. They're really treating us great. As a matter of fact, at all of the sites, everybody's being great to us, and this hasn't always been that way. Facebook Live video is much more accepted. In the beginning, a lot of people didn't want it there, and now everybody's very welcoming, and I appreciate it. But Chris Ayart walked me around Lake Central, around the school, and around the gymnasiums, and I ran into Joe Huppenthal is the girls' coach there, and what a great atmosphere at Lake Central. I really like the energy there. You had to get buzzed in there, and you have to get buzzed in at Munster. You got to get buzzed in at Bishop Knoll. You got to get buzzed in at Highland, I believe. Yeah, you got to at Griffith.
You have to get buzzed in everywhere.
You got to get buzzed in. But somebody went to the Lake County or Lake Central School Board and said, hey, we need metal detectors. And I think Larry Veracco, the superintendent, said, every school is locked and you got to go in through the main A entrance at Lake Central there. But kids are kind of nice, and sometimes if somebody's standing outside a door and it's cold or whatever, they might open the door and let that person in. And so these schools are not airtight.
So what if, even if it's letting somebody in, what about the student that's packing in his backpack? I mean, they have an ID around their neck.
So the idea right now, the discussion is twofold. Can we have serious gun control discussion in America now? It has always been cut off by Wayne LaPierre, just even the discussion in the NRA. And then the second thing is, what do we do about our schools? Because our schools are just wide open for attack.
Well, I really had to laugh about the president because, of course, now he's saying that the security guard was a coward and he would have rushed right in. Whether he was armed or not, the president of the United States would have rushed right in. And I started thinking about that deferment he took for bad feet from going in and rushing right in when Vietnam was taking place and everyone else was rushing right in. But all of a sudden now he's going to rush right in. Please, your actions speak louder than your words.
Let's talk about Scott Peterson, the policeman who did not go into Stoneman Douglas for 15 minutes or so. He stood outside. There's also reports that there may have been some sheriff's deputies who showed up and did not go right in.
Right. Now his lawyer is issuing his statement.
Yeah, so there's possibilities that police did not want to run in on this shooter. And you can make your own judgment about cowardice and so forth. But let's look at the other side of that. Let's look at the other side of a school resource officer, or if that's what it comes down to, or even a school policeman. He's got a handgun, right? And it is his job to run into who knows where this guy is sitting with a semi-automatic war machine. He is expected to run into that, in through that door, no matter what, perhaps just basically giving up his life at that point. So there is another side to the cowardice. I get the cowardice, and it should have been handled differently. But in a way, what is the solution here? I mean, do we have to? What should we be doing? I saw one of the suggestions for Lake Central was they wanted a school resource officer. No, they wanted a cop on each floor. They should get one from Cherville, Dyer, and St. John. And should be there all day with guns, walking the halls. And will that keep that school any safer? Yes, probably. But then again, over time, if it is expected of people to take those jobs to run into shooters with, semi-automatic weapons, how are we going to be able to recruit the kind of people that we want to be able to confront these? There's so many issues with this.
Well, I mean, I did the East Chicago show. I had the police chief, Frank Smith, as well as Fire Chief Tony Cerner on Friday. And we talked about this very issue. And, of course, their officers are trained to respond. And a lot of times on the streets, as your previous caller, John, brought up the gang members and how heavily armed they are. Well, a lot of times individuals are more heavily armed than our police. But they still have to go in and fight crime and respond to incidents. And just like our firefighters are running into fires and, regardless to the outcome, we know what happened at the World Trade Center when firefighters rushed into those buildings. And I'm sure they knew, some of them, when they went in there, that this was not going to be a win situation. But they still did what they were, dedicated to doing, and that was to serve and protect. So regardless to whether this gunman had the weaponry that he had and the police officer had what he had, he still should have responded, because even if he had saved one life, that would have been one life that wouldn't have been lost.
She is Verly Suggs. I'm Jim Diedler. You're listening to AM 1230 WJOB 104.7 FM. You're also watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, or you can listen actually on the TuneIn app. So 3 Radio and 3 video outlets. Let's take your phone calls at 219-845-1100. Furley, what's your mom's name?
Kay.
Hi, Kay. How are you? Hey, let's go to Zube on line 2. Zube, you're it.
Hi, good morning, Burley, Jim.
Good morning, Zube.
So, you nailed it on the head a few minutes ago by saying, you get buzz in students, yada, yada. It comes down to schools are not airtight. And you could put a cop on every floor of Lake Central. If someone's been planning and plotting something, like to shoot up a school, they're not in the right frame of mind. They're going to carry out regardless. They're going to do it. You're not going to stop them. They're going to find a way. They're going to do it. And maybe having those cops on each floor, it might lessen the carnage, but it's still, you know what I mean? It's going to happen still. You're not going to completely stop it. There's so many, like you said, I mean, people are letting people in all the time, especially in wintertime. They see them standing out there, they don't know. They let them in instead of waiting for them to get buzzed in.
Would the metal detectors solve that?
Would the metal detector solve that?
I don't know. I mean, look, you're not in the right frame of mind. You're going to go shoot up a school. You're going to go through it. You're going to carry out your plan no matter what. It's go time. You're getting in there. You're starting. You're shooting.
Zube, you got a little kid, right?
I got a little one, yeah.
How do you feel about all this?
I mean, do I seriously have to take a ride over to Lansing over the weekend and pay a visit to the bunker and check out some bulletproof backpacks? See, wow. You know what gets me is I don't want to say everybody in our region. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but it just seems like a lot of people, let's say a lot of people, have the mentality it can't happen here in our own backyard.
Yes.
And it can. It can. And that thought right there kind of sickens me. Like it's happening in Columbine, in Parkland, Florida. What was the one out east? The guy shot up the grade school.
Sandy Hook.
School. Yeah, Sandy Hook. I mean, kind of spread out through the U.S., but here it is. I mean, you never know. It goes back to how many times have I called in, Jim, and I told you, I can't even take my 10-year-old to a summer festival at a church anymore without looking over my back at all times.
Wow.
Great
point.
Hey,
I can't take them to the movies. People are shooting up movie theaters, schools, festivals. I mean, I don't know. Guess that's the world we live in today.
It's coming home here. You've got the past week we've had threats at Griffith and in Gary or at Lake Ridge. It's Calumet. Of kids who said, allegedly said they were going to shoot up a school. You've got an unspecified threat at St. Thomas More in Munster, where I went, and you have another possible threat by a parent in Chesterton. I mean, these threats are right here.
You know what, though? And it's not only schools, Jim. Who's to say someone at the job site in the area doesn't go postal and decides I'm going to shoot up a steel mill or I'm going to shoot up, at my place. I work with, there's 250 employees at times or whatever. Who's to say one day someone doesn't walk into my work and start firing?
But you made the right point when you said postal, because those incidents, that term became about because of those happening at post offices. People who were employed for the post office, starting to shoot up other people in their workplace.
I mean, someone could go nuts today and walk into Jewel in Munster and shoot up. It could happen anywhere. And people have the frame of mind, it seems, it's not going to happen here. It won't happen here. Yeah, it can, and it might.
Can you carry a gun at your job?
No. Whenever Illinois brought the law, you have to keep your stuff. You got to keep the clip out of your gun or whatever. You can have it, but you got to have them separated. You can't have it loaded. They put no guns allowed signs all over our work.
All right.
I know for a fact that I work with guys, they probably got it in their car. I guarantee it.
There's another issue there, and that is, all right, say someone does want to shoot up your workplace. I mean, I don't even like to bring that scenario up, but just let's call it what it is. And they know that there's signs all over the place that say no guns allowed, then they know they got an advantage. They're not going to get gunned down because nobody has a gun, or very few. If anybody does, they've snuck it in. So, I mean, you're
Right.
basically advertising at that point that if you are going to shoot this place up, you're probably not going to get a lot of resistance, at least at first.
Look at the reporter and her cameraman who were killed on air
Right.
by a disgruntled employee.
Right.
Hey, thanks for bringing up these very uplifting topics there. Zube, we appreciate it, buddy. Talk to you.
Oh, okay.
There it is. It is what it is, man. It's just life. I'm just messing with them. Dave, how are you?
That's Bill, I think.
I'm pretty good, but it's unfortunately the violent world we live in. You know, the U.S. is one of the most violent countries on the planet. You figure out, just think of that, murders with by gun. I mean, more than Syria. I mean, that's kind of absurd, isn't it? That we have more deaths by gun than countries that have been in war for decades.
It's a little bit absurd that you're bringing that up, and that it just comes out that they're using chemical weapons against their own people and killed 250 last week. So that's, I guess, a little bit different. You know, by the way,
we're extremely violent country, and it doesn't help when our president comes without knowing the entire story, calling our first responders cowards, and then has the mitigated gall to say he would run in there without a gun. Are you absolutely kidding? Is anyone that's listening right now know what the procedure is and the tactics are for an active shooter? You just don't go run headlong into a building. I mean, there's procedures and tactics that they use, you know. So to call these first responders cowards, and then say, see, that's half the crap he says. There's no proof. You don't have to prove anything. That's like me saying, if I was alive in 1915 and I was on the Titanic, I would keep it from sinking. It's completely without merit or any fact base at all. I mean, just ridiculous comment.
hey, Dave, go back to your days at Morton. You ever think that life would come to where you had to worry about people coming in and shooting up Morton?
Never. And Zube pretty much called it. And is metal detectors, is armoring up our schools a way to do it? Maybe. Is changing the age that you could buy an assault weapon to 21? Maybe. LaPierre pushed back on that when the president said it. Here's the goof of it. And Burley, I think I know you're going to agree with me. The very people that are screaming at the government to solve this problem now. I mean, the government is the one that got us into this mess by eliminating the Brady ban, by eliminating all these laws, gun laws that we have in regards to assault weapons, the size of the magazines, and now we're screaming at the government to help us. Are you kidding me? Let me tell you, I'm taking my life and my family's life in my own hands. I sure the hell I'm not going to wait for the government to protect me or my children or my future grandchildren. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. I'm just not that kind of person.
Hey, Dave.
I'm just going to put my life and my family in people that line their pockets with NRA and gun lobby money. I'm just not going to do it. That's absurd.
All right, slow down a second. You'll remember this. Burley, how long you been living in the region?
35 years.
Okay, you would have moved here right when this happened. A guy texted me, Rick Baltonsburg over at Misprint. He'll text me from time to time. He said, Jim, don't forget we already did have a mass shooting. Think about it. We've already had a mass shooting here in the region. St. John Kmart, 35 years ago.
That's right. We sure did.
Yeah, I guess you really don't think of it as a mass shooting because they really didn't even give that term to it. I mean, we just kind of put that as an outlier. If that happened now, it would just be grouped in with all the other mass shootings. Wow, I remember that too. All right,
I
got to move on. I got to go, Dave. I got so many people.
I met
Thank you.
Brady, and that man, in his wheelchair, after getting shot protecting the President Reagan at the time. I mean, he was such a strong advocate against guns, and sadly, we still haven't learned a lesson.
219-845-1100. Let's go to Brian on local 599 phone line. Brian, how are you?
I'm fine, Jed. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Verly. This is a subject that Jed, I called about with you a few days ago. I don't know if you remember, but there are three things that, you know, if you look at, like one of your earlier callers said, why have we not heard about these things going on in the 60s and 70s and such, even into the 80s? And there's three reasons why. Number one reason is because of technology. Technology is partly to blame for this. The second reason is people's hearts have changed. We're feeding our kids a bunch of garbage, and garbage in, you get garbage out. You can't plant bad seed and expect a good crop to come out. Number three, and I've said this before, as long as we keep kicking God out of everything in our lives in this country, it's going to continue to get worse. It's not going to get better. It is never going to get better. It's going to get worse.
Explain that one.
Explain what? When
Explain
you
the
kick God
last
out?
one. Explain
About
your position that the injection of God into this conversation
That's
would
right.
make it
That's
better.
right.
Tell me how.
That's right. Well, I'm gonna tell you exactly what he said. He said, "Look, you know, you can either follow my my laws and my decrees, and this will happen to you. I will bless you with this, that, and the other. And if you don't, this is what's going to happen: this, that, and the other." And the Lord tells us what we sow, we're going to reap. Now, how many? Now, okay, kids got shot up, got killed there in Florida, correct?
17 dead, 20 injured.
Correct. And we've had others that have gone on in the country, correct? School shootings,
Yes.
correct? Mm-hmm. Now, I said this to somebody the other day. Why are you getting upset about it? And they asked me, what are you talking about? And I said, do you know how many babies we kill in this country every single year? Every single year. You think God doesn't notice that? You think that's okay with him? When he specifically said, don't do these things, you know, common sense, don't do it. We are reaping what we've sown.
So what do you mean garbage in, garbage out to kids?
Garbage in, garbage out in every aspect of our society. In
What
every
they're
aspect.
watching, the video games, the music,
news
everything.
media, the news media. We tell kids it's okay to behave this way and behave that way. And we make films saying glorifying living totally evil, ungodly lifestyles, making jokes out of it. Like there's a series that's coming on CBS called Living Biblically. Okay, again, mocking the pretenses of God and his word. That's the kind of stuff God said, okay, when your calamity comes, guess what? I'm going to sit up here and laugh at you in your calamity. And when you call on me, I will not answer.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Hey, Brian, have you seen the Black Panther yet?
Yes, I have.
I'm going to see it again this morning when I leave here. My
Brian,
mom and I.
Brian, thumbs up, thumbs
Great.
down. Black Panther, thumb
Black
up, thumb
Panther?
down.
Up.
All right, buddy,
Way
talk
up.
to you. Hey, I got to hit some spots. I'll be right back. Stay on the line, folks. Don't go anywhere.
I want to be like the pretty people on my TV.
Now you can.
All I need are gleaming white teeth.
We can help you.
Can you find the right dentist for me?
Dr. Andy Coulteritis, he does cosmetic dental.
Will he hurt me?
No, he's gentle.
I'm terrified of pain.
He's the kindest in the land.
He sounds great. Could you repeat his name?
Dr. Andy Coulteritis, 219-836-1111.
Thanks.
For a fast and friendly car wash, go to Easy Clean Car Wash. Easy Clean is happy to announce their new location's grand opening at 1637 45th Street in Griffith. Open 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Or stop by one of our 3 other locations in Highland, Cherville, and Lansing. Free vacuuming, carpet shampooer, air freshener, and towel with every wash. And it's fast, easy, convenient, safe, and gentle. Go to myeasyclean.com for more information.
When you're in the dark, where do you turn to find a trusted professional who can assure the safety of your home or business electrical system? Certified Electrician is here to help. Looking for a highly skilled electrical contractor for your next construction project? CertifiedElectrician.com is where to find one. We connect you with pre-screened electrical professionals living right here in Northwest Indiana. experts in residential, commercial, voice data video, and signage. Certified Electrician can fulfill all your electrical needs. Visit CertifiedElectrician.com.
You know, I enjoy watching basketball at home, but I think we should go over to Johnny's Tap in Munster for drinks and fun.
Yeah, I like going to Johnny's Tap.
Speaking of fun, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. and Mrs. Fun.
Mr. Who and Mrs. Who?
Mr. and Mrs. Fun, but they're at Johnny's Tap.
Okay, I'll see you there at the corner of Broadmoor and Calumet Avenue. Yeah, I like going to Johnny's Tap.
Johnny's Tap. New ownership, now smoke-free, and still the home of Mr. and Mrs. Fun.
A real neighborhood type of place.
Ogren Insurance has been serving the area since 1947 and provides insurance for life, home, auto, business, and more. If you're looking for one-on-one service, the best rates, knowledge, and experience, Ogren Insurance is your agency. Our number one goal is to provide you with the coverage you need at the most competitive price. To learn about the insurance solutions and services we offer in Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or see our website, OgrenInsurance.com. Ogren Insurance, 6929 Holman Avenue in Hammond. Accidents happen. Be protected with Ogren Insurance. Hey, what's going on, everybody? 721 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Tiedlow, host of JED in the region. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's a special day. It's a historic day. 7 streaming live high school sectional basketball games on your phone, Facebook Live, a collaboration between Region Sports and WJOB. They'll be at Chesterton. We'll be at Lake Central, Hammond, and Whiting. Hey, don't just watch them. Go to the games, okay? These are running commercials for the beauty that is good and pure of high school basketball. We'll be bringing it to your phones. You can hook up your, if you know how to hook it up, you can get Facebook on your TV in your living room. I don't know of any bars that are going to be running it. If I had a bar, that's what I would be doing. I'd be running these games tonight. But, or not a bar, but, you know, a restaurant or whatever. It hasn't quite caught on to that extent, but it will very shortly. Next year at this time, you'll be able to go out and watch these games in local establishments. But right now, that's not the idea. So 7 games tonight, a historic day. And what better day to have than it's 60-degree high and sunny much of the day. Lexus walked Wicker Park yesterday with my daughter. Alexis and I walked around on Sunday. Just a couple of nice days to open up the year. I took a nice bike ride along the Little Calumet River yesterday, and I'll be doing it again before heading out to Lake Central tonight to announce the Morton Highland game. Get outside, do something. I mean, you got a chance to do 2 really cool things today. Get outside at some point, whether it's lunchtime at work or right after work, and then to go to a high school basketball game. You have no excuse today, because it is just gorgeous out. You do have one minor hiccup on the roadways, though, and that'll be at 129th and Calumet Avenue. Anybody going out to the Whiting sectional, understand that Calumet Avenue is going to be closed from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. overnight as they work on the walking bridge that is going over Calumet Avenue. And that will affect people coming out of the Whiting sectional after the games. And you got a couple pretty big ones, including Bishop Knoll and River Forest at 6 o'clock. So keep that in mind. Other than that, traffic right now, 294 around the city, a little bit heavy after Cicero, but moving. 80 going east and west looks good to Joliet. Bishop Ford's been lighter than normal. Right now it's 111th to maybe about 95th. You've got some stop and go in that area, but the rest of the Dan Ryan doesn't look bad. Skyway and the toll road are moving along pretty doggone well. I should change that on the Dan Ryan. The Dan Ryan's a little bit heavy from 95th on up to about 67th. The Skyway and the toll road, Borman, I-65, hey, those are moving along just peachy. And traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda. Check them out at riveroakshonda.com. They took a leap a long time ago to sponsor our Facebook Live here and our streaming video on Twitter and YouTube, and we can't thank them enough. If you're looking for a car, start right there at Napleton River Oaks Honda. And high at 59, 60 today, sunny much of the time tomorrow, high at 52, gray and cloudy and rainy. And then Thursday, even worse, 44 and windswept. Might even get some snow. So today's your day. And then Friday and Saturday, 2 more sectional days. Beautiful days to get out. Let's pump up the attendance at these games. Let's get some more interest. We don't have the great team this year at any level, but we have a lot of really good teams. So you're talking about some competitive games all throughout the week at all sectionals. It hasn't always been that. We've had some lopsided sectionals in recent years. That should not be the case this year. Weather is brought to you by our good friends at CertifiedElectrician.com. If you need electrical work done, have a union-based contractor do it. At 7:45, 7:50, we're going to run through all of the sectionals. So this will be our last segment with Verley and myself. Happy 50th birthday to Janine Maloney. Once again, she is the much better half of one of our longtime sponsors, Realtor Matt Maloney, who, as a handicap, has two handicaps, and one is that he is from Illinois, and then the second one is that he worked at the Board of Trade for the better part of 2.5 decades. So she put up with all of that, and if you know Janine, send her a Facebook message or just call her up or whatever. Happy 50th birthday. Also, let's just go to the phones. There's a lot of people been waiting. Ryan, give me a number right now, would you please?
I just want to say that Saturday, there was a horrific accident on 8094, and I came up on it right after it happened. It happened about 4 in the morning, yes, and I came by it maybe about 4, a little after 4. And all the traffic on 8094 going eastbound was totally stopped. And the two young men who were killed, they had sideswiped the truck, and the car had flipped over, and they were trying to help their passenger out when a Volkswagen Passat sideswiped and hit them both and killed them. Driver got out, looked, saw what happened, and then left. Well, apparently he took his car to a salvage yard in Gary to sell it. And then they were able to trace the car back to him. And so he has turned himself into the police. But just the thought that he left the scene of such a horrific accident and 2 lives were lost. So just be careful on the highway. They always say, don't get out of your car. But, I mean, their car was flipped upside down. You could see it right there on the highway in the left lane. And so I'm sure they just figured to get out. But when you see an accident, just get over. Go to the right or to the left. Don't try and drive next to an accident.
This was a horrific one. I knew somebody who also had seen some of this, and the guy's name is something Davis.
Joshua Davis.
Josh Davis turned himself into police late Saturday in the 2200 block of Carolina Street in Gary. He sold his damaged Volkswagen Passat to a Gary salvage yard, and they figured it out after that. So let's take some phone calls right now. We've been talking about an issue that's facing America and facing the region for recent incidents in Griffith, Munster, Chesterton, and Gary bring it to light that, hey, what are we going to do about keeping our schools safe, especially in the light of the Parkland, Florida shooting. I don't know what you guys have to say about it, but we're going to find out. Let's go to Mad Mac on line 4. Mad Mac, before you talk, which sectional are you going to tonight?
Well, hate to disappoint you, but I'll probably be looking at it on the phone maybe because I've got my elbows sharp, and I'm going to demolish your father tonight, hopefully, if he shows up, which I know he will. It'll be me and him battling as always.
Yeah, I think my dad the following night will be out at the Lake Central sectional to see the Munster Mustangs play, but I do believe tonight he will be playing with you. And, man, Mac, that is just...
What time is on tomorrow, by the way? What time is that game?
6 and 7:30 out at Lake Central tomorrow night. Should be Crown Point and Lake Central at 6, and then Munster versus Lowell at 7:30. You cannot do better parity than those 4 teams. Lowell is on the upswing.
Oh, yeah.
And Crown Point and Lake Central are going to duke it out tomorrow night at Lake Central. A lot of people are going to the different sectionals tonight and then don't have games tomorrow. Tomorrow night at Lake Central, I would expect a pretty big crowd, right, Ryan? Would you say? Yeah. And, they take 4,000. If they can't get at least 75% of that filled tomorrow, I'll be very disappointed. So
maybe I can grab your old man and we'll play some hoops tomorrow and then get out there and run down to Lake Central and catch the second half of that game. That might be good.
Now I just want to paint this picture. So from the moment you pick up my dad to the moment you pull in the parking lot, you're probably going to talk the whole time, correct?
It's a total misconception, Jimmy. I mean, I don't know what I got to do to get through your thick skull. It's usually you doing things which are borderline illegal, to say the least, Mr. Wampum, okay? And you're worried about me? Just trying to be a friendly conversationalist, that's all.
Man, Mac, what's going on at Griffith Schools? They've had 2 incidents. You're a Griffith guy. What's happening?
Well, yeah, they got a whole bunch of issues going on over there. But at least now, does this Torin kid get arrested, you said?
Looking at a felony.
So he was arrested, though, right? He posted some video, and then he got arrested, right?
I think so. Let me let me clarify that. Authorities were notified Thursday. He faces 2 counts of intimidation, a level 6 felony, according to police. I don't know the exact. Okay. I'm guessing he got arrested, but he's facing 2 counts of felonies. What do you think happened?
Well, something got processed there now. So let me ask you this: why then in Florida did the same thing not happen? And I know it's going to offend Verley, but let me just set the record straight. Back in 2013, Obama with Eric Holder and Arnie Duncan attempted to overtake the disciplinary roles of the schools in our country with a grant program that said, listen, minorities are getting arrested too much. They're getting in trouble too much. They put in this plan that said, listen, address this stuff inside, don't turn it over to the law, and then we'll give you money. Now, I know people will say, hey, that Matt, what the hell, he doesn't know what he's talking about, except the Broward County superintendent addressed this stuff in a press conference, that yes, we were involved in the program. Yes, that was what the program was involved about. Yes, we did take a lot of money, and now we're paying the price because we don't discipline people anymore when they do things that are wrong. Just like the other caller just said, the guy who called in and said, listen, we can't have abortion running around, and it can't be just okay to abort babies anymore. Okay? You can't do that. It's the moral depravity of which we are sowing the seeds for. Now we are paying the price, okay? You guys talk about guns. Listen, I was in 3rd grade in the city of Chicago when I got recruited to be in a gang, and when the guy said, here's your gun, I looked at that, I go, is that a real gun? I go, no, I'm not touching that, man. I'm out. Hopefully I never see again. And then my dad went down there, I think, and tore a couple guys' heads off, and I never got addressed again. But this stuff has been going on for a long, long time. We just don't want to address it and step up to the plate and start laying down the law. And if we've got to build prisons the size of McCormick Place but 80 stories high, that's what we have to do, because we excuse this stuff all day long.
Talk about building more prisons. What would that do?
I got to tell you, you go into prison for a couple. You spend 2-3 weeks in there. You come out with a little different look on life. If you get caught with a handgun or any gun you don't have a license for, boom, 2 years in prison. That'll teach you not to be caught with a gun. It's not that hard to do this. But if you don't discipline people, it's not going to happen. And we've got, let's say, the state of Illinois next door. We got the state of California. What do they think about people entering our country and becoming international criminals? You can't come into our country without paperwork. But these 2 states want to go, nah, hey, listen, don't worry about it. Come on out to San Francisco. We got enough homeless people in San Francisco. You could fill a county fairgrounds 10 times over. We don't punish them. We feed them.
So hold on a second. P&P, punishment in prisons. That's the answer here.
That'll be a real good start, because trust me, you kick a kid out of school, he's got to go home and tell his parents, I'm kicked out of school. The whole dynamic changes at home. They're like, what do you mean you kicked out of school? Well, yeah, I called in a threat. You did what? Now, the parents may not care. Okay, I don't sympathize with that, though, either. If you have kids, you got to at least do something to raise them. But if you're not going to do it, fine. We'll throw you into juvie. Doesn't matter. But start putting them in. All of a sudden, wait, where'd those 20 kids go? Oh, what? Now they're there's 2 weeks in juvie? Everybody all of a sudden wakes up and says, maybe we better just act a little bit normal.
All right, there you go. Punishment in prisons. I got you. Punishment in prisons.
And we all know that that's a real good deterrent. That's why the prisons are so empty.
What do you mean?
Prison is not a deterrent. to crime. If that was the case, we wouldn't have anyone in them.
219-845-1100. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good. Jed, I think as you know, the number one rule of security is that there's no such thing as 100% security. I mean, we've had one president nearly assassinated and I think 3 assassinated. It just can't be done. And, I mean, we tried to regulate liquor, total prohibition. And guns are more precious to people than alcohol for their own defense from the inception from our country. Of course, it's different now. But, I mean, we're between the south side of Chicago and Gary. And there are high murder rates there. And do you have guns in your home?
I am not going to answer that one.
Well, okay, you answered that one. You just answered that one. And so...
You know, you hold on a second. You bring up something I have never thought of. We outlawed liquor, and that was like just a huge catastrophe. It just made everything go underground. Yeah. Let's play the make-believe game. What if we outlawed guns in America? What would happen?
Well, number one, it would never happen, and number one, there would be total chaos, and the people who had the guns would be in control. That's what would happen. And on the other hand, this one's even better for you than College Bound or Festival of the Lakes, which no one knows I created, Jed. NRA stands for No Rational Approach.
Why do you say that?
Because, I mean, they will not budge an inch. They will not budge an inch from their position.
Well,
they never.
All right, let me just play the other side of that. Why should they? It's guaranteed in the Constitution. Why should they? Why would they give up any rights that are already there?
They have practical basis. The reason this country was created and the reason it still exists as a free country is the sad fact from the beginning of time. This country was created because we were better at killing people than we were killing us. The British surrendered because we were better at killing them, just like the Japanese surrendered and Hitler surrendered and everyone in between. It is a sad fact, and it may never change. And that's why my father went out and risked his life, and many others did. And a lot of them didn't come back, and a lot of them died, so this would be a free country. And you try to explain to your children that certain people, and you're here because of the grace of God and those other factors, and it doesn't get through to kids. My God, they have these video games where you get points for how many people you kill. You've seen those, haven't you?
I have. Thanks a lot, Bill. I appreciate it. Talk to you. Let's go to
John.
So
actually,
go ahead.
4 presidents were assassinated, but we all know with prohibition, when liquor was outlawed, that it still was able to get through. And so people who have guns are not going to give them up. I mean, when they have those buybacks for guns, yeah, you get some of those guns back for a gift card for Walmart or something, but the majority of the guns aren't coming back. So outlawing them will never solve the issue, because what are you going to do? Go in people's homes and raid them and uncover their guns and find their stashes? It'll never happen. It's just not.
Well, he brings a good point. What would happen if all of a sudden we came out and said, guns are illegal? Okay, and then he's got a good point. The people who have guns would be the ones that are in control, and there might be some truth to that, but maybe there's a slight understanding of possible pending gun restrictions coming, and gun sales are going crazy right now.
Well, they started going crazy the minute President Obama spoke about, gun laws. So people started buying guns when he was still in office. And it's not so much the matter of people owning guns. It's the type of guns that they're able to own. That's the main issue. Yeah, you own a gun that you can shoot 1 to 3 people at a time. But when you own a gun that you can shoot 20 people at a time, 50, 100, then why do you need that type of gun?
Okay, I understand that, but there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of those guns that are already in America that can kill 20 or 50 people at a time. So if you were to outlaw them now, the people that already have them would have a huge advantage. I mean, I don't, this is one where you kind of look at it and you go, I personally say, I don't see a solution here.
I don't see a solution either.
I don't see a solution because I know you can't take it to its logical. You can't take it to its full spurt to the end of the continuum on either side.
But if you
can't say
prevent-
everyone should have a gun, and you can't say no one should have a gun. So we got to find a sweet spot in the middle. And when you start talking about the sweet spot in the middle, the devil is in the details. I have no idea how this is going to get worked out.
You know what? You have to definitely have age limitations. You should have better background checks. And you should also be able to follow a gun. Basically, just like you have to have all these different licenses for everything else. And I understand, yes, you have to have a license to own a gun. But we have this gun show at the Lake County Fairgrounds, which is about to be protested. I believe it's taking place this weekend. There has to be more stringent control over these guns because Chicago is complaining about the guns coming from Indiana. We all know that. And Indiana continues to be the location where you can go get a gun with virtually no problem at all.
Yeah, but you see, to some extent, the very first caller we had, John, he has a point. More stringent gun control laws just isn't going to apply to crazy people. They're going to find a gun somehow. I mean, honestly, if you wanted to buy an AR-15 right now and you had cash, you could find one by the end of the day illegally.
Most definitely.
Yeah, illegally. Just drive around in certain areas and you'll find it. There may be some informant who turns you in or something.
I wouldn't even have to drive around. You could just make some phone calls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you could buy an illegal semi-machine
you have to
gun
be careful
right now.
driving around because if people don't know you, they're not going to trust you to just sell you a gun on the street. It's not that easy. You can drive around on a lot of corners and get some marijuana or some drugs, but guns, it takes a little more.
But to some extent, the very first caller had a point in that there's a segment of people who use guns to which the laws do not apply. They're not going to, it doesn't matter if you could get rid of all guns. They're still going to get guns. And I don't know what you do with that. Like I said, all right, we're going to take the last four, and then that's it. Then we're going to talk some sectionals. We'll take Chuck, John, MX, and Rebecca, who is next. Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
Hi. One, I wanted to make a comment about the kid, Teron. I don't know if you saw it on Facebook. He posted an apology to, he apologized stating that it was a joke. He happens to be my son's friend, and which I told my son, I mean, okay, one thing is a joke, but joking about that, it's not funny.
Which
And
kid are
he's
you
supposed to be
talking about,
supposed to be-
Rebecca? I didn't hear which.
I think his last name is Dylan, the one that was
okay.
posting
Well,
the
that's why I
thread
said
on
he's making a
Snapchat.
video. Right. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
And then he posted something on Facebook where he apologized. And he said that if everybody knew how he was a jokester. And one thing is to joke, but seeing what just happened, that's nothing to joke about.
Right.
There's nothing to joke about. And what Mad Max said about the jails, I'm sorry. Some of these kids, it's nothing to them.
Yep.
It's nothing to them.
Yep.
It's a free bed, free meal. Come on. What they need to do, send them off. Send them off to wars. They want to shoot guns, send them that way.
Go back to this.
You wanna do that?
Hold on a
The
second.
kills are
Some of them are
nothing.
actually in the military. Some of the gangbangers are actually in there.
Hey, I got to stop you for a second. Your son is friends with Torrin Dillon, who went to Griffith and played
Yeah.
basketball. And you're
Yeah.
saying that Torrin has posted an apology that it was some sort of artistic joke. How do you feel about
Yeah,
that?
if
Your
you-
son, he's your son's friend. How do you feel about that? Here's according to the
It's
Times.
anger. It pisses me off. It pisses me off because that's nothing to joke about. There's nothing to joke
Right.
about. Because first of all, you're laughing at these parents, the parents of these kids that died in Florida. You're laughing at them in their face.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's nothing.
And wouldn't you
It's
think
like,
that somebody
if I'm-
would take it to the police, that it wouldn't be a serious issue? It was a poor
Exactly.
choice, but that's similar to the fights that they had while they played and everything. They've made some poor choices.
What do you
They
think
did.
about your?
They did.
Well, hold on a second. What do you think about your son hanging around with Torin after he posted this video?
Well, he doesn't hang around with him.
Mhm.
That one thing I know, he doesn't hang around with him. But what pisses me off, he defended him. I'm like, no, you don't defend him. I'm sorry. You know what that was? Regardless, if you say it was a joke, no, you don't defend him. Whatever charge they give him, he deserves it. Maybe it's true. Maybe he was joking around. But you know what? Now you suffer the consequences. You want to play like that? Now you suffer.
Well, sadly, he made a
consequences.
poor choice that could end up, affecting the rest of his life if he ends up with a felony.
All right, hold on, Rebecca.
Yep.
You got some good info here, and I want to get some more out of you. Do you think that there are other people like your son who may be sympathetic to what Torin did or alleged to have done?
Yes.
Why?
His friends, all his friends, because they're all like defending him. They're all saying, "Oh, he's a jokester. We know how he is." And I'm like, no, you're not going to change my mind. I'm sorry, you're not. There's nothing to joke about. But there are more people, just like this other kid. The what's his name? I forgot what his name is. The one that took the gun into the school.
Cruz.
Him. I guess my heart goes out more to
No.
him.
You're talking about the other kid in Griffith.
Right.
How do you feel about that one?
Yeah. That one, I guess my heart goes a little bit more out to him. One, it was like a stupid mistake for what he did, but at least he turned himself in. At least he realized it and took it to the cop and said, hey, here, can I mean, if anything, I would have said, can I call my parents, take it, whatever. But honestly, do I agree that he should be carrying a gun at 18? No. I mean, you can't even buy beer. I mean, even though he could probably get it, but no, I don't think. I mean, my heart goes out to him a little
You
bit.
can't buy
I
beer
guess.
or cigarettes,
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, I guess my heart goes a little bit to him. Because he did the right thing. He went to the cop. He told the cop, hey, I'm carrying this. Before it either, I don't know where it was, if it was in his book bag or sleeve. I'm not too for sure where that was. But I guess my heart goes out a little bit to him.
Hey, Rebecca, as a point of detail, my guys are looking for Torin's apology. Was that on Facebook, Snapchat? Do you know where?
It's on Facebook, yeah. It's on his Facebook.
All right.
If you want, I could try to tag you to it. But it's on his Facebook.
Tag us right now. These guys want to look at it. The producers do. They can't find it. Okay? If you would tag us right now, we'll try to play it by the end of the show.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, Rebecca. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Bye-bye.
Hey, give me 1 30-second spot here. We're going to see if we can find this thing. Be right back.
Not only does Catering by Steve's cater for all occasions, Steve's in Hegewisch has expanded their all-you-can-eat Lenten fish fry on Fridays from 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. during Lent. Don't forget trivia every Friday as well. Stop in for some delicious Lenten specials and sample our large selection of craft beers. We also have banquet rooms for your special occasion. Bring your family to enjoy our Easter Sunday brunch on Sunday, April 1st. Call 773-646-1071 to make your reservation. See all we have to offer at cateringbysteve.com, serving the Calumet region since 1958.
Anybody can finds that link, just email it to Sam at WJOB1230.com. Sam at WJOB1230.com. These guys are looking furiously for it. They cannot find it, and we'll try to play it for you. If you guys are following it, Rebecca says that Torin Dillon, who used to play for Griffith, has posted some sort of apology for the video that he allegedly made that said he was going to shoot up Griffith. So we'll figure it out and try to move forward with it. Before we do that, traffic 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, 113th to 103rd is a little bit tight, but other than that, moving along pretty well. And lighter than normal approaching Jane Burns. Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65 are all moving along pretty well. Pretty light traffic. Thanks a lot to Napleton, and pretty light day, a pretty beautiful day out right now. If you guys are watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, you can just see right behind Verley and myself. It is just gorgeous out. It is, 40, It's 38 degrees still, but it's going to warm up considerably, up to 60 degrees, sunny much of the time today. Let's call it 61 as your high. And then tomorrow, high of 52 only, and then 44 by Thursday and 41 by Friday. Wednesday and Thursday kind of gray days, but Tuesday, Friday, Saturdays, three of the biggest days of sectionals. Those are all pretty nice days. I'd love to see you guys just take a flyer and go to one of the games. I'm telling you, all 4 sectionals this year should be very competitive. We looked at every sectional. There's at least 3 teams, up to 5 at some of the sectionals that could actually win these sectionals. It's usually not the case. It's usually down to 1 or 2. Lake Central's wide open, Hammond's wide open, Whiting's wide open, and so is Chesterton. Come on out. If you can't make it, historic day. We are broadcasting on Facebook Live 7 high school basketball sectional games. Thanks a lot to Bobby Cox and the IHSAA for working with me to put together this deal. Also, thanks to Region Sports and, quite frankly, to the 4 major sites, Chesterton, Lake Central, Hammond Civic Center, and Whiting, have all been very accommodating, so that we're hoping our first night, we understand. We've never done this. This is a lot of broadcasting. We're hoping to get all 4 of the sites off, and it'll happen one way or another. So historic day. And one of the guys that helped us put this together from the beginning is actually on line 1. And Chuck, how are you, man?
Hey, morning. Hey, I just wanted to hit a couple things. I mean, first off, with your previous caller, Joe, he almost seems ashamed that we're not speaking a combination of German and Japanese right now. And I would highly suggest he watch the Amazon series, A Man in the High Castle, and see how things would have been had that war gone the other way, because we weren't as good as of killing, as he commented. The other thing, to your point about prohibition, what's really interesting is, the example you brought up is perfect, because, with the passing of the 18th Amendment, it literally made half of this country into criminals overnight. Half of this country continued to drink alcohol, even though it was illegal. It led to the rise of the mafia. Not only that, and a lot of people don't realize this, the peak murder rate in the United States in modern history was during Prohibition, because you had the mafia running around and you created this massive black market for alcohol. And I think anybody that's, considering these massive gun control measures just needs to get a better understanding. I mean, there's a great PBS series and all this sort of thing about what happened during Prohibition, because that's all you're going to do. You're going to take selling guns at the gun show, or at least there is some paper trail, to having zero paper trail.
Well, just like the St. Valentine's Day massacre that took place during that time, and
Right.
the same thing happened on St. Valentine's Day here. Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, let me take some of the other side of this.
Yeah.
Europe, very low guns. Some countries, no guns at all. Very little gun violence. Schools don't get shot up in Europe. Australia, 20 years ago, had some problems with guns. They put severe restrictions. Very little gun violence and very, almost no school shootings. Why can't we follow their leads?
Why can't we follow Switzerland's lead, where every single person has a weapon and there's no school shootings? You can't use one example. There's examples on both sides of massive gun ownership and no gun ownership. The concern that I have is, for instance, I watched a video from Britain not too long ago. I think it was in London, where there was literally, the police officers in London don't carry weapons. So you had 10 police officers, against one guy with a butcher knife, and they're like, they have their bobby clubs. Like, what do we do about this guy? I mean, they were in a situation. I mean, think about Paris. If somebody smuggles in or somebody walks in with a handful of weapons, you are now completely, outgunned. They can kill hundreds of people in the time it takes for somebody with a weapon to show up and do that. They take them out. You know what I mean? And so, go ahead.
You know what? We're going to run up against the clock here, and there's plenty of parts to this that I know that you want to talk about, and I think that we'll be having a day for you coming up here if you're wanting to take it. But here's the deal. I do want to, despite where you think about Chuck politically, I want to give him a thanks. Chuck, it's a big day for us. 7 games at one time broadcasting. Chuck and I started out in the back of the room of WJOB in 2010, trying to basically build some sort of network where we could give Northwest Indiana its own TV presence, maybe even our own TV network at one point. And quite frankly, the advancements that we've been able to make to this historic day today could not have been made without the technical assistance and continued energy of Chuck Pullen. So I just want to publicly thank you for that, Chuck.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, again, we all have to work together to make this happen, and one man can't make television. One person can't make this happen. It's like a whole team of talented young men and women on your side, and we're getting it done. So.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Let's move on. I'm going to take John and MX.
I just have to say, when I lived in Germany in the 70s, and the first thing that struck me when I landed in Frankfurt was seeing the police officers heavily armed with M16s. And, as they did traffic stops and all for speeding and things like that, there they stood with their guns. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, thank God it's not that way in the U.S. And now we're at a point where we actually need it that way. And that's scary.
Let's talk about this. Say you get pulled over, right? Some guy pulls you over and you're driving wherever it is, whatever you've done. I haven't been pulled over in 30-some years because I drive way too slowly, as these guys point out to me on a regular basis.
Well, we all know I got pulled over on 61st.
Yeah, I know. So
Maryville.
you get pulled over, and one guy comes up, and next thing you know, there's one or maybe two other, and somebody gets out, and they're holding a machine gun. How do you feel?
Intimidated.
Intimidated, but are you glad they're doing that or not?
Hell no.
But then again, police officers are getting shot.
I understand why they're doing it. I'm just not glad they're doing it. I understand why.
Do you want it to be done that way? Do you want more heavily armed police?
Sometimes I feel that there is over-policing. And when I see a stop and I see 4 or 5 police squads there, I'm thinking to myself, really? 2 couldn't handle that? Why aren't the other 2 somewhere else making sure that there's not something criminal activity happening on the other side of town? So I think sometimes the response is too much for a minor thing.
Verley Suggs, Jim Delo, and we will take John on line 2. John, how are you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
John.
I have to say that I see this as a morality issue, not as a gun issue. And although I don't believe the high capacity guns should be available to the market, you only have to go back not too far in the distant past before violence was so prevalent as a form of entertainment to us, where kids got 22s and shotguns for Christmas and families hunted, and we were more rural, and you never heard of such a thing as a school shooting. And also, an earlier caller brought something up that made me think, and that was about God. And because this is a lack of love for a fellow man. People shouldn't want to shoot each other. I'd like to see the statistics of how many parochial school shootings there is compared to public school shootings. That would be interesting to me because I don't believe I've ever heard of one.
I haven't heard of one either.
Why are you bringing that up?
Well, earlier caller made me think about it, that God was missing in people's lives, and I actually believe
that up.
I believe that lack of morality is the issue here. Is people don't care. People aren't thinking about their future. Lack of leadership. People aren't being parented. And violence is a form of entertainment now. I mean, all these things add up to people not caring about life and not caring about their fellow man. That's the problem. The problem is not guns. Guns have always been a part of our country and our culture, and always should be. Our country was built on that. And I'm not a big gun guy, but I just see this as clearly a morality problem.
How do you fix this morality problem?
Well, it's taken generations to cause it. I imagine it would also take generations to fix it. But I think we've become way too liberal as far as if somebody doesn't like something, we can't do it anymore. You can't discuss God in schools. You can't discuss a lot of good things because it hurts someone else's feelings. So you can't talk about it anymore. We have really, I think liberalness is probably the number one cause of all of this.
So you think, hold on a second, you think that if we were able to discuss God in schools, that would help fix this situation?
I believe it would help fix it. I think if you talked about loving one another and not killing, things that are like the Ten Commandments, if you talked about those things, then people might actually think about them and believe in them again.
Separation of church and state.
Yeah, I believe that is part of the
problem. Well, we have to thank Madeline O'Hare for doing that way back when she was the main activist that took God out of school.
Okay, hold on a second. But now here we are. We got 2 constitutional issues. We have the right to bear arms, which is at the heart of the discussion of Griffith, Chesterton, Munster, Gary schools situations that we have going on. And then you have the original writers said, hey, you know what, separate God and the state and the government, and you shouldn't have it. And if you got public schools, how are you going to let people come in and talk about the 10 Commandments?
Well, I don't know, because it was discussed in school. I mean, it was in the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God. I don't even think they're allowed to say that in a lot of schools anymore.
You're right, man. No easy solutions. John, thanks a lot for your phone call. MX, your last one. Go.
Here's what I would do, Jed. I would full body armor. I would want to go into my police car, strap on a top coat and a helmet that's bulletproof over my chest protector, and walk right in there. Bullets will be flying off you. I think our technology for the police needs to be better. Kevlar coats. Within 1 minute, you're strapped ready to go into there. Just you don't do a job unless you got the right safety equipment, and that's what we did at Inland Steel. So as far as this other guy, he hit the one word right. We've become too liberal. But let's get our technology better so we can just open up the trunk, throw on this jacket, put on a helmet, and go in there and get that kid.
Thanks
Another
a lot.
thing, too.
What? Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Verley
I'm
Suggs,
supportive of full body armor for police officers. Anything to protect them and their lives.
She's Verley Suggs. It's not an easy time, my friends, here in America, here in the region. Of course, we're still dealing with the aftermath of the Parkland, Florida shootings. And we've also got some issues going on at our local schools that, just people threatening the kids, threatening the schools, parents possibly threatening the schools. And we got to take them seriously. There's no easy solutions, and quite frankly, there's no easy discussion on this. Final call?
Sure. I think we got them all. My final call is thank you for allowing me to come in and share Tuesday morning with you.
Kay, that is Verley's mother. I apologize for making that joke in your presence. I don't necessarily apologize for the joke because I think Verley has the ability to take a joke and to take some of my more sordid comments. But I do apologize to you. I won't do that again. If I know you're watching,
to apologize to her. That's okay.
Happy 50th birthday to Janine Maloney. Her son will be playing for the Munster Mustangs tomorrow night, Munster versus Lowell. We did not get a chance to preview all of the sectionals, but here's what we're going to be doing. Thanks a lot, Verley. Here's what we're going to be doing going forward. Is VJ here yet? He's running late. He's running a few minutes late. Can you guys stop the Facebook Live and run in here right now for a 3-minute preview real quick? Thank you. Yeah, I want to talk about this real quick because the 3 announcers are here right now. Is VJ here now? No, he's not. Come on in real quick. So I do want to tell you guys that we're going to be at 4 sites tonight. Ramirez and his gang, Nathan Laird, is going to be out at Chesterton. And then I'm going to be out at Lake Central. And I'll be out there with Dave Kuziak and Ben Cowart, Ben the Pride of East Chicago. And then it's going to be Ryan Walsh and Jimmy Mullaney and his crew. They're going to be at Whiting. And then it's going to be Sam Michael and his crew of Christina Cortez are going to be at the Hammond Civic Center. I want to thank every one of those 4 places we mentioned because I think you guys, I want your comments on this. These guys are much more accommodating at all of the sites than they were a couple years ago, or maybe even a year ago when we were trying to do Facebook Live. It just wasn't as accepted.
Well, first off, this year we're at 4 sites that are very well in receiving the Facebook Live. A couple other schools around the area do not like the Facebook Live aspect of the broadcast in preps now because it takes a little bit away from the gate.
No, it doesn't. It adds to the gate.
But
it adds to the gate.
Yeah, but I'm just going
That's
off
their perception.
That's their perception. But the other athletic directors like Chris at Lake Central, Tyler at Whiting, it's Clark that's the official host for the Civic Center sectional. And
Donna Muta's helping us out over there at the Civic Center.
And I don't remember the name of the athletic director at Chesterton, but they realize that these kids have families that can't get to the games. And that's a big aspect of why some of these athletic directors are changing because, parents work, grandparents work, brothers, sisters work, or just they moved out of the area and they can't get to the games and they still want to support their little sibling or son, niece, daughter, grandkid.
Make no mistake, folks, we're going to try something historic. We're going to be at 4 sites. You'll be able to watch all these games on your phone. Sam and I are part of it. Kuziak's part of it. Ramirez is part of it. Everybody's kind of part of it. But make no mistake, this is Ryan Walsh's doing. And, Ryan, you need to be congratulated ahead of time. And then you will also be held responsible for any of the problems that happened tonight. But you know what? You've been sports director here for a long time. This hopefully this should be a high point for us.
Yeah, it's my ninth time around handling sectionals, and this year is heck Pete's having to go set up for you at East Chicago, and then going to set up for somebody else over at Whiting or River Forest, and then going down to Boone Grove like I did a couple years ago. 3 or 4 times a week. Got a great staff that's going to help out. Christina's going to get the equipment set up at the Hammond sectional. Ben Cowart's going to take care of the Lake Central sectional setting up, and then Jimmy. And we're also going to get help from your students from Purdue Northwest. We're looking forward to having their help with stats and other things that they'll point out that maybe our broadcasters don't see during the game.
And that's another historical moment here today. As you guys well know, Purdue is real-life experience. I'm taking 10 broadcasting students, and I'm dispersing them amongst the 3 sites. That'll be Hammond, Whiting, and Lake Central, and they will be out there all week. Purdue Northwest broadcasting students. Sam, you're headed to the Hammond Civic Center tonight. The big game there is Griffith and Lighthouse. You got to be looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to the whole sectional. I think it's going to be good, and I love going to the Civic Center, especially since the mayor and other folks decided, rightfully so, that it was time for a facelift and a brand new floor there and some new bleachers on the main level. I love that gym. Them and Whiting are very similar. I always call Whiting's gym a small civic center, and the field there is good. You mentioned it, Griffith and Lighthouse tonight. Griffith has a tough road. Hammond has the much easier road. Got the bye, and then they play the winner of Clark and Gavitt tonight. They'll play that game on Friday. So Hammond's probably going to get there unless something crazy happens. Griffith is going to have to earn it for sure.
And let's talk about that. I told Kevin Ihart, Chris Ihart, the Lake Central athletic director, I go, hey, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I was a little miffed that this sectional is not at East Chicago. But the moment I walked into the brand new Lake Central gymnasium for the first time, I've never been there. That is an incredible gym. Mm-hmm. So any of these places that people go to, even the Chesterton gymnasium is a great place to watch a game. It's just too huge on both sides. They don't really have anything in the end zones, and it just goes up real high on both sides, the length of the court. Then you've got Whiting Memorial Gymnasium and Hammond Civic Center, and then the brand new Lake Central. I think the region's really going to showcase high school basketball today in a big way. Hammond Civic Center, above everything else, now that they've given it the facelift, really is the best place to watch a basketball game in Northwest Indiana.
I think you're right, and I wish they'd play more there. You know, we used to have the games there. What do they call those games in the
region round ball?
Region, yeah, they used to have that, and Jimmy's dad was actually a big part of that. I know, and since he moved on to Bishop Knoll, he's kind of
nobody took it over.
Nobody took that over. He's too busy to do it. So, you can't ask him to do
you know
everything,
what? I'll be straight with you guys there. Whirlpool and some of the other guys in Hammond came to me and said, "Hey, what can you do, or can you help us do to put on some sort of showcases at Hammond Civic Center?" And I just told them straight up. I said, "Listen, you guys are doing this is about a year ago. I go, let's finish this full facelift. I'm not sure that the region is ready for this, but at some point they will be ready for it. I'm not altogether sure us streaming the games that we're a little bit more ready for that next year, and we have to explore that. There should be more high school basketball at the Hammond Civic Center.
I think at least a game of the month or at least a game of the week to me should be there.
I talked with him, and I talked to a couple athletic directors, and what it is they can't figure out how to split the concession. Nobody wants to give it a home game away from their actual home court on their high school site. I think what probably will end up happening is maybe a December or maybe late November Saturday where you're going to see 2 or 3 teams from the region play out of region teams because that way it's easier to split up the concession, just keeping it local instead of just 2 teams getting it divided.
Or you do like a 10-team package maybe where you have 10 games and it's 5 teams or whatever, and they play everybody, and you put it together somehow that way to where one game they get it and one game you get it, and everybody gives up one home game to do it. I mean, you've seen it where these teams in the NFL have given up their home games to go to London, and some of them given up home games to go to Mexico City. Yeah, I don't think the fans care for it a bunch at times, but this isn't quite the same thing. You don't have to go across sea. Now you just got to go downtown a little bit. You know, if you live in Highland, you got to go a little bit further to get to the game, but the Civic Center is something that's great. I mean, Highland's got a great gym too. Highland is, to me, one of the best gyms in the area as well. But it's got nothing on the Civic Center.
It's a functional gym.
Yeah,
it's not a character-filled, beautiful thing, but very, very functional. One of the things that could happen, and this is where television or streaming video changes it. At some point, it could make the concessions not that big of a deal if there's enough people watching and local sponsors. You get the McDonald's, you get the ArcelorMittals, and I mean, look at us. We got Community Healthcare and BP to sponsor the video here. I mean, they recognize that at some point, if we're able to build this, then we'd be able to get the kind of sponsorship. We'd be able to pay it out to the schools, and they basically make up for them losing the concessions. That's where I thought it would. That's why I told the guys in Hammond, I go, it's not there yet. I don't think anybody's really going to step forward and sponsor this on the radio or in just the live thing. But once you start getting TV rights in there, that changes that game entirely.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, you see it in the big conferences, the Big Ten Network now, and then all of a sudden Fox realized, okay, well, we own part of the Big Ten Network, but we've got this channel over here, FS1. We want it to kind of take off. So now you see the bidding war that's going on. ESPN had the Big Ten schedule for a while. Now FS1 took it over. So these networks want it, and they want to pay for it, and the schools get the money. They might not be happy about having to go to New York City for their Big Ten tournament this week, but you better be realizing they're making a bunch of money off it.
Hey, Ryan, by the way, this time that we're talking is sponsored by Vito's Pharmacy. VJ Demasius is actually one of our sponsors of the tournament here. He's actually running a little bit late. So we're talking on Vito's Pharmacy's time, which I don't think he'll mind, but at some point we will have to turn the discussion to his beloved Purdue Boilermakers. Ryan?
I wanted to make a comment. Sam mentioned just a minute ago about Big Ten Network. Johnny's Tap, they just got Big Ten Network for the tournament this week, so you can go over and watch the games. Bob sent me a message yesterday. They picked up the Big Ten Network. It's new ownership over there. Bob and a couple of their friends have taken over. They've renovated it. It's smoke free, and they wanted to let everybody know that they could come out Thursday night and watch the IU at 8:00. I'll be there for that, and then Friday, likely a Purdue IU game that's going to have them packed out the door.
And let us talk, since it is on VJ Demasius' time here, since he's paying for this time. He'll be here any moment. We will highlight his facilities. And don't forget, they have the new facility near downtown Highland in the old Finke spot. Beautiful building and a beautiful development, one of the biggest developments to come to Highland for a while. And that's all the Demasius family right there. And they're huge supporters here all over these years. But let us talk. We're going into the college tournaments right now under a huge cloud. Address.
No, it's which side of it? We're talking about the newest one, right, with the FBI?
The FBI scandal. I mean, it's on everybody's mind. We have a great Big Ten tournament coming, and you turn on the television right now and you listen to the radio. Nobody's even previewing this. It's at Madison Square Garden. This is a beautiful moment. All you're hearing about is Sean Miller.
Right, and the only, I guess it's a good thing to say it without lack of a better term, because this is all bad stuff. I guess it's good enough that it came out kind of early here. The only tournament that's going to be going on this week is the Big Ten tournament. Everybody else is going to be next week, and then you still have March Madness, which is really 2.5 weeks away. So there's time for that all to die down and the excitement to pick up, and it's going to. But right now, Sean Miller, is he going to coach again? I doubt it. I mean, at Arizona, I think he will coach again because we've seen it already proven. We watch guys ruin programs and still get other jobs. Larry Brown did it everywhere he went.
And here's the thing about Sean Miller. Did they give that $100,000? They have him on the call. It's like
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if they gave it or not. If there was a look at the Blagojevich scene.
I mentioned that last night. I made people laugh. So you can't bring up Blagojevich in the same sentence.
No,
as
you
Miller,
can't.
But it's the same thing. He didn't do it, but he had the intent to, or said that they would. So.
That's kind of, IU's kind of in that boat too, because Chuck Martin, who was an assistant with Tom Crean, again, I mean, what did Tom Crean know? I don't know. What did Chuck Martin end up doing? Was that his only thing? He tried to get a guy who ended up, funny enough, ironically, after everything's been said and done, went to Louisville and was a big part in Rick Pitino eventually losing his job, along with, of course, the prostitution scandal. But Brian Bowen was basically, it sounds like, sold around to the highest bidder, and IU was in on it. It was basically, hey, if we get Thomas Bryant and OG on our agency, and you let us represent them, their NBA careers, we'll give you Brian Bowen. Well, OG and Thomas Bryant didn't go to that agency that was mentioned, and Brian Bowen didn't go to Indiana. So I don't know. Indiana's mentioned in it. I think, has Matt Painter been mentioned too? I mean, I don't really know. I don't.
No,
not yet, right?
Think about it. He
so.
doesn't run that kind of
Right,
program
I agree
now.
with you.
And you guys well know I was a critic of Matt Painter years ago. In the last couple of years, I've changed my tune entirely. Part of it, he's gotten better. He's gotten to be a better coach and a better recruiter and just all around a better program. He has built that. And that is not the case. I don't hear. I haven't heard
either,
Purdue in any of this. And plus, he's got Brandon Brantley over there as his assistant, and he's a Regent guy. And Regent guys
grad.
And he's and Drain grad. That's his best buddy and his assistant. And typically, Regent guys, they know how to get out on the streets and so forth. Let's talk about this. We have perhaps the biggest week of basketball ever on WJOB, and part of it is that most of our broadcasting isn't even on the radio. We are going to be doing 7 games tonight from various sectional sites. We'll be doing 8 on Friday night, and you can get all of those on Facebook Live Video. They will be bouncing around. Ryan, explain the radio coverage tonight.
Well, we have 2 games at 6 o'clock. We'll start with one of those games. Sam will be at the Civic Center for Hammond Gavin and Hammond Clark. I'll be at the Whiting High School sectional, which is Bishop Nolan River Forest. We'll kind of float back and forth to see which game is closer, and then we'll get to your game at 7 o'clock, which is going to be Hammond, Morton, and Highland, and then we'll just bounce around. We'll keep it. We're going to try to keep it with the closest games. We'll go rotate, but we'll try to, and
we'll bring in the Chesterton games too, as we're doing this in conjunction with the Region Sports Network. So we have 7 games to choose from. Who's going to be sitting here making those choices?
Tonight it'll be Tony Panic.
Tony Panic will be making the choices around the different ones. One of the sponsors right now is VJ Damashis, and he's going to join us even though he's late. He is taking a page.
Just got back from Disney World.
He has taken a page out of the Frank Mervan world of media, and he has shown up late here. And but you know what? If you're going to pay to sponsor WJOB, you better have a relatively thick skin, and that is what VJ has. VJ, I know you got stuff to talk about, pharmaceuticals and stuff. You're paying for this time. So you got to tell us your opinion about Purdue basketball going into the Big Ten tournament.
I feel good. I feel like Purdue's not technically on a roll. That game of 3 was that was hard.
Those 3 losses, that would be Ohio State, Michigan State, and Wisconsin all in a row. Were those positives to get those losses out of the way?
I don't think they have to be on a team like Purdue. I mean, some teams you need that. You need a little bit of a stab at your, that you aren't invincible. And but I don't think Purdue necessarily needed that. I think they are mature enough that they could have done well enough without the losses. But either way, it probably did help in the long run. And going into the Big Ten tournament, I think they're going to roll again.
I think there's a little bit of an overreaction. Yeah, they did lose 3 in a row, but look at the teams that they lost to. I mean, Wisconsin's, even though they're not that great this year, it's still one of the toughest places to play at. Even though Bo Ryan's not there anymore, guards got it. It's really tough to play at the Kohl Center. Wisconsin fans, they go there win or lose. Michigan State came down to the wire, just one play that could have gone the other way, and you have that victory. And then same thing for Ohio State. Missed rebound late in the game, just not boxing out, not closing out the lane. Those are 3 solid programs over the last 5-10 years. And if it's Illinois, Rutgers, Penn State, bottom dwellers, Northwestern, that you lose those games to, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But 2 of those 3 teams are going to be in the NCAA tournament, and Wisconsin can make a run in the Big Ten tournament because of just how physical they are.
We're talking to VJ Demasius. This is his time. So, VJ, I got to ask you, obviously everybody knows you're a big, huge Purdue fan. Purdue's name is not being mentioned at all in this NCAA scandal. That's got to give you a point of pride.
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, I saw Michigan State. My brother showed me, and, once we heard that it was going to go bigger, we were excited. I was confident, Kendricks has moved along, and he's not with Purdue anymore.
Frank Kendrick had some – they had some issues in the past with Frank Kendrick.
He was their guy.
Yeah, he was their guy that would kind of go in and he would kind of move her and shake her, and he would just kind of bite at the edge of the regulations. Brandon Brantley's kind of Painter's guy. He's a region guy with really tight resume and a really good reputation. They don't get the blue chip players. They don't get the top 50s. I mean, does that help them, Sam? Does that help them?
Does it help him not be involved in the
Yeah.
scandal? Probably. I mean, Ryan and I talked about this yesterday. Basically, that I think there needs to be an adjustment to the rule of one and dones. That either you can come to the NBA, go to the NBA, or you come to college and you have to stay 2 years. And I think that can eliminate some of this stuff that's happening now. What it might do, and you got to think about both sides. It might just slot everybody up. So if you're the number 50 recruit and you say the top 40 guys go to the NBA, they're all 5 stars or whatever. I know there's usually about 25 stars, but say the top 40 guys go to the NBA and the top 60 remaining of the top 100, then everybody gets slotted up and do the math, whatever. Maybe then they're still in a bidding war with all the coaches in the different schools, but I think it could solve part of those problems. And you see how Matt Painter's done it, right? He's gotten the 4-year guys to come to Purdue, and that's changed everything.
Sometimes it's kind of boring basketball.
Well, for sure it is. And I mean, whatever, but they
Big Ten basketball.
depends on what kind of basketball you like. If you like the lobs and the alley-oops and the flashy stuff, yeah, you might not like it, but if you like a team that moves the basketball and was the number 1 offensive efficiency rated team in the Big Ten this year, that's Purdue. And they moved the ball. They shot the ball well from the outside. I like that kind of basketball. IU was playing that pretty well when they were at the top of their game with Zeller and Hulls. They'd move it and they'd shoot it, and it wasn't guys just dunking it. They'd get a post up and whatever. That's old school to me. I mean, that's kind of, I think, how we play up here a lot of the teams, instead of running and gunning too much. Yeah, there's some. EC's kind of been known for years to run and gun, and maybe some of the better teams. But if you look who wins in postseason time, it's the guys with the good guards, the guys who really know how to move the basketball and not let it stick too much. And yeah, to answer your question long-winded, I think Purdue is got to be confident, and you trust your head coach. Did Matt Painter do anything? Probably not. You hope not. Now, I don't think Tom Crean would have either. That's how much I like Tom Crean. I don't think he would have either, because look at the recruits he missed out on.
VJ and I are like,
because Crean's under that Izzo tree, and Izzo is not the. The history's getting ruffled up pretty good with the assistant coaches elsewhere.
Maybe you don't know a guy until you know a guy. Maybe you don't know until you know. It's that simple, right? Use cliches. You don't.
Oh God, look around here, man. Look how we've been duped a couple times here.
Absolutely.
At WCOB. I mean, you don't know a guy till you know a guy. That's a pretty good line. He's Sam Michael. He is Ryan Walsh, and I'm Jim Deedlow. We're on the Vito's Pharmacy Show, and the Vito's Pharmacy is one of the many sponsors. It'll be Sam, myself, and Ryan will be the main announcers at Lake Central, or he'll be at Hammond. I'll be at Lake Central, and Ryan will be at Whiting. And then Region Sports Network will be out at Chesterton. And all those games go off tonight. We should have, if all goes well, we'll have 7 games on the Facebook Live feed. We'll be bouncing amongst all of them here live on the radio. It'll be great radio, great video, and you guys need to watch it. Vito's Pharmacy is one of the many sponsors of this. Vito's, we got a few minutes here. Can you text Christina and tell her I'll be there at 8:40 and not 8:30? I'll just sit here with VJ for a little while. Hey, you can move over a little bit, okay? We don't have to be. This is like when someone gets, you got 3 people in the front, and then somebody gets out of the car, and then you're just like still sitting next to each other. It's like, hey, go ahead and move over.
Or 10 treadmills, and you take the one right next. And
that is the worst, by the way. Some people don't understand space.
Oh yeah.
And there's a person over here that does it when I go to Planet Fitness. And because that's their treadmill, and they don't care if someone's right next to it. It's like, this is my treadmill and whatever.
As long as you understand that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, he is. So what's going on with Vito's, man?
Well, we are, we're in that new building, and right now our lab is not in that building. The lab's coming along slow, and we're excited really soon here to get the lab over there, the compounding lab.
The compounding lab is still on Kennedy Avenue?
Yes. Yep.
And it's still a little tight there, right?
Yeah, we're still in Hespel, and
you've needed more room there.
We need more room. We're making a lot of packaging for mom and dads and grandma and grandpas, where we're maybe they're not in a nursing home yet, okay, but medicine wise they probably need to be in a nursing home. The idea now is to help them enough with their medicine so they don't have to go into the nursing home. So that's kind of Medicare's approach, and it's a good opportunity for us to help mom and dad by packaging them up. I mean, it's really easy. You just have a little package that has 10 meds in there, pop them down, and You don't think about it.
No, you don't think about it, but I have been thinking about it because my cousin went to Purdue, and she's a pharmacist, and she works at a compounding lab not right in this area. And she was telling me all about it and how much growth there's been in that, and that people want very specific medicines. But I did not realize it that sometimes they want them made real simple for people to. You don't even have to be elderly. Some people just want it very simple, very simply marked. Make it easy for me, and you got to package it in the right way to make that happen.
Yeah, a lot of people want it without gluten. If you're of certain religions, you don't want the gelatin. You can't have gelatin
Because that's animal-based,
Go
right?
to the factory right over the border. There's a gelatin factory, and it's just pork lard and pork. That's how they make it, and they still make it from pork. It's not like there's like a new way of making gelatin. It's always been pork.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah,
Is there one right across?
There's one near here. Yeah, it's like lards of pork
So
that
just like-
makes the gelatin. That's
Aren't
what
you
gelatin
glad you don't
is.
work there, by the way?
So it's not kosher. It's not. Anyways, so we can make it in a vegetable cap.
I mean, there's vegetable gelatin, basically, or is
yeah.
it a different?
It's
not necessarily
cellulose, like a hardened cellulose.
So it's a little bit harder than that. I mean, it's hard. That gelatin is actually really usable in a lot of ways
Yeah.
because of its durability, yet it bends and all that.
Yeah.
The cellulose isn't as bendable, right? If I'm understanding.
Yeah,
that
it can
correctly.
crack on you. I mean, they keep it at a certain moisture, so it doesn't crack. But yeah, that can just crack on you if it's been dried out.
So where's your brother working at?
He's all around. He is at all of the locations. Mostly, I mean, we have that new location on 45th in Dr. Ocampo's building, so he's been there. I'm actually going there after this. Going to work a shift there. We have a guy on vacation.
So hold on a second. I saw that. My wife's like, "Hey, Vito's is here now." Dr. Ocampo's on. Is that Highland or Griffith?
Highland, 45th.
Yeah, that's Highland.
Yeah.
And so that's Highland. And then you have the new downtown Highland location in the big building.
Yep.
Okay. And then you're on Kennedy Avenue.
Hessville.
In Hessville. And then you're in, there's your 3 locations?
No, one more in North Hammond, the Hubert Humphrey building.
North Hammond, and that's not.
Holman in Michigan.
Holman in Michigan, in the there. So why Ocampo's building?
Nate, my brother, he's had a long relationship with Dr. Ocampo and her husband, Francois. If you've ever met the guy, he's a hoot. But he's the building manager there, and my brother has known them. I've known them a little bit. And they've always wanted, they're entrepreneurs, the Ocampos, kind of like, I would say, the TLAC, family.
I think they know each other.
They do.
Dr. Ocampo.
They're friends. They're buddies.
I've met.
They go shoe shopping together.
Yeah, I've met Dr. Ocampo with Dr. Tilak out at an establishment one time, and they were a hoot.
Yeah.
You think, they're just like, boring doctors. That's not the case when you get them outside of that.
They're 2 girls that like to go out and have fun.
And they're really into clothes and fashion and
Shoes,
stuff
yeah.
like that. But so you're in that building. I mean, so now that basically gives you 2 Highland locations, and then that gives you 2 Hammond locations.
Yep.
What's the long-term view for Vito's Pharmacy? You and your brother, still young guys.
Oh, just wait for the right offer. No, joking. I don't know. We have kids of our own, so if they like to get into that, we will definitely, have a spot for them in the business. But more importantly, we will have it. I mean, when you look to sell to another pharmacy, maybe your kids want to become, garbage men, and they don't want to, I have 2 boys. If they don't want to get into pharmacy, that's fine. But my brother and I have talked, we will pass it on to independent people. We will have to have a lot of money difference to, sell out to CVS or Walgreens. Like, it would have to be like significantly large. We favor independent pharmacy, and we think that it's worth a little, take a little less money on a sale that it doesn't stay CVS or or turn into Walgreens CVS.
You get that from your dad?
Yeah, and just going through the tribulations of being an independent business owner, and that you have a sense of pride for the community, and you know that in the end, I mean, if you look at some of the statistics on taxes, the big companies, barely any of it comes back to your community, and with independents, a lot comes back. I mean, the shop local community can prove that, that 70% comes back to the community, whereas Amazon, forget about it. I mean, barely any comes back to your community, or any of the big national chains. Why? They have their accounting, they have their central, over in, across the border somewhere, not in, Indiana. It's so.
I mean,
it's
you got.
better for
I
the
guess
community.
you could look at it right now. I mean, here we are. It's like, hey, we're going to do the. I cut a late deal with the IHSA to get all this video. One simple phone call to VJ, and yeah, I'm on vacation, but I'm still in.
Pharmacy vacation.
Yeah, that's coming back to the community. Spikes Lakeside Inn. I mean, I got a list right here called Jared Tauber. Jared, Jared,
Highland guy.
Yeah, Highland guy. And okay, well, and that's how the money comes back. And I agree with you. That and look at right over your shoulder is the Strack and Van Til Studios. It's the local guys.
Yeah, it's hard for you to call up, one of the steel mills, and I bet it would be hard. I can imagine, like that'd be a tough call.
Oh,
like,
those are tough, and that's just not it's not an easy do. Plus, part of it's the relationship. I'm texting you. I'm texting you on your vacation, and then they tell me you're on vacation, and I'm like, I don't care. He doesn't mean that he's not picking up his phone. He'll be fine. There's different levels of communication that you get otherwise. Hey, let's go back to the 4 locations.
Yeah.
I want you to give me an idea of Vito's Pharmacy in 5 years.
In 5 years, right now we're probably in the growth stage internally. We're have the 4, so grow those, and look to be adding on more. I'd say by 5 years have 6, or just kind of keep growing and not get too big of ourselves. You don't want to grow too fast. You can definitely grow too fast, and there's only so much money out there to grow on. But definitely growth, and revenue always helps that. And we've taken on some projects internally, like specialty pharmacy, which is that's a really growing aspect of pharmacy. That's your $30,000 a month medications. $30,000 a month. Someone's picking up that tab. When we buy the drug, it's $29,000. And so this thing goes for $30,000 a month, and that cures you of hepatitis. But though that and other meds are specialty meds, and they are highly watched and gently guided along the way to the patient's home. Why? Because there's so much money. It's not a couple pennies. So we've gotten into that, and you could imagine that requires a large amount of rolling capital. But the idea there is you get a couple of those, and if you're on a certain percent margin, that you start doing well, and we have, but it's ongoing. So I mean, specialty pharmacy. Some people out there listening, you may have a nurse come to your home, with the medicine, because they want to make sure you're taking it right. We do the same thing at Vito's, show you how to use it a little more to the, the detail. Because if you're going to have a $30,000 med, you're going to want to make sure you know how to use it, and you're using
take it
correctly.
Exactly at the right time.
It doesn't sit on the counter.
Yeah, and you take it exactly at the right time where you're going to get the maximum effect of it. What to eat, what not to eat with it, what to drink with it, how much to drink, all that kind of stuff.
Whoever paid for it's going to be darn sure that you know how to take it. I mean,
the downtown Highland location. You have your pharmacy there, and what else is in the building?
Yeah, in that building is a big empty space that is open for, it's on the second floor. There's an elevator. So, we're looking for someone healthcare minded. We had a dentist look at it. It's a clean, blank slate. You can have whatever you want in there and build it to your suit. But outside of that, we have the pharmacy on the first floor. We have a really large medical equipment, showcase. So we have a bathroom, and in the bathroom, it's not a real bathroom, it's a display. We have all the different medical equipment, a grab bar getting into the bathtub, a transfer bench, all the different things that you'd have in, mom or dad or grandma and grandpa's bathroom. And so on. So we have a lot of wheelchair and electric wheelchairs and scooters and all that good stuff on the showcase floor, so you can look at. And right now, the big thing has been the sleep apnea.
I see
CPAP.
those, man.
Yeah.
And I see those being advertised. I was wondering if you guys had that
Yeah.
stuff. And the different ones. The one that I got a buddy that swears by it. Says it changed his life around. But he has trouble with getting dirty. I guess they have new ways to keep them a little cleaner.
Yeah, they
now.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, he's VJ Demasius. If you have any questions about any of this, you can call just any of the pharmacies and ask to talk to him or his brother Nate. You'll get the same kind of conversation that we're doing here right now. VJ was a little bit tardy this morning. He took a page out of the Frank Mervan book. And
Who works for us?
What's that?
Did you know he works with us?
He's
part-time on Vito's staff.
I did not know that.
He is.
So I'm making
marketing.
I'm making fun of two of the people that are part of the big sponsorship here, because Frank buys a lot of advertising for North Township and the Dial-A-Ride and stuff like that. So both of these guys have a little bit of trouble with punctuality, but I'll tell you what, they're serving the public. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
thanks
you.
for signing on as a sponsor of the basketball. And
that's going to be big. That's...
Yeah, it is.
It's a big deal.
It's
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. You know that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, but I got to end it with this. Go Boilers, baby.
Yeah, go Boilers. Yeah.
All right, guys. Hospice is up next. I'm out. So is VJ. I'll see you guys later. I'll see you tonight from Lake Central.
Do you have or are you at high risk for cardiovascular disease, also known as CVD or heart